asked
David
Eugene,
Clemens.
when you
David was
need
like, "Oh yeah, I want local programming.
or
Yeah, I want
business insurance,
Saddleback.
Farmers can help you protect everything
He's the
you work so
operations
hard to
manager.
achieve. I really
So I was
enjoy
like,
what I
okay.
do, and I can help
So
you
then I
understand
started
all of your
sending
coverage
him
options.
everything,
When
and
I'm your farmer's agent,
nothing.
you're not stuck at the mercy of
So I
some
said,
security.
John, I said,
I'm your advocate when you
can you help
need
me get these
Visit
guys
my office
engaged? I
today
mean, it's
at
just
1154
odd. They would
Garfield
just not
Street
even,
here in Eugene.
after
Or
a
give me
few more
call
emails, go,
at
hey, dude, we really
541-284-2844.
appreciate, what you're doing, but we're going to pass.
Yeah.
This is a Sports Animal
But
Sports.
part of it is that they've got no good
Justin
reason to
Grossweiner,
pass.
the
They don't do
Emerald
anything in the
defeated the
sports
Vancouver
station. They have no
Canadians by
local
final
stuff
score
going
of
on
6-5.
there. They wouldn't have to
Yesterday afternoon
preempt
to close
anything
out the series.
to put
But
them
when the
in.
M's were
I think
able
it's like
to force
Westwood
the
won.
series
Yeah.
split against the
Again,
Seas and
it's just-
closed out the
it's
9
bad.
homestand with a 6-3 win. Eugene is
Uh-oh.
now 30-23 in the second half.
Coming down the hall.
Portland Timbers goalkeeper James Pantemis has been named to the MLS Team of the Match Day for Match Day 22. The league announced today. Pantemis recorded 10 saves to help the Timbers secure a point on the road with a 1-1 draw against AFC on Saturday night. The Portland Trailblazers will honor late Rip City legend and Hall of Famer Rick Handelman with a band on their jerseys throughout the 2026-27 season. The team
What's going on?
YouTube.
Sports
I
bites
just muted
every hour
everybody's
when news
mic,
breaks.
so
Follow us
probably
at Sports Animal EU.
My mic's off.
Justin
No,
Grossman.
your mic's on your computer.
Oh.
You just finished listening to the Bald-Faced Truth Unfiltered with John Gonzalo. For more local sports, stick around for a few moments to listen to The Drive with me, Danny Howell, along with my best friends, Justin Grossweiner and Steve Mims, on the Sports Animal Audio Network.
Wherever there's a need in our communities, there's a United Way, improving lives so everyone can thrive. Where more people can gain access to healthcare and nutritious food for their tables. Where more community members can benefit from financial education and get connected to local resources for housing support. And where children are given more chances to reach their
KORE Springfield, Eugene. I'm Danny Howell. You can listen to me on The Drive, weekdays from 3 to 6 on The Sports Animal, Eugene.
7,
Dude, I am
6,
totally stuck.
5,
It's
4,
about time.
3,
My God! Okay, it's happening.
1.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
I just got 3 things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start You're listening to Oregon's premier afternoon sports show. This is The Drive.
Welcome, friend. Along the Sports Animal Audio Network, live from the Bigfoot Beverages Studios. The Oregon Man Clips hotline open for you. Locally in the Eugene area at 541-844-3484. Toll free 877-844-3484. The next 3 hours, put your water down. Kick back, relax. The boss will love that. You have your legs up on the old desk. You got the YouTube or the Twitter and the Twitch going through your computer, or the audio, just sportsanimalEUG.com, and you got your headphones on. You're a little rocking out with us. Nothing better for a Monday, boys. Welcome to Monday. Woo! Here we go. I'm Danny Howell. You can call me Doc right over there to my left. It's Justin Grossweiner. We call him Baby J. What up, boy?
A lot going on, but it's an exciting day today. A lot going on, it feels like, for our show. We actually have a lot to talk about today. We're not having to stretch anything out in our 3 hours today, so it's going to be super fun.
Things are getting cut. Over to my right. You know him, you love him. What was your number in high school?
I think it was 30.
30. Number 30 in your
It didn't
program.
last very long, so I don't remember.
That's all right. This is the line we're to use. 30 in your program, number 1 in your heart. It's our man, Goose, Steve Mims.
If we're cutting something, I just noticed the place where I vote to start.
I know where
won't
he's
bring it
going to
up.
go. I know where he's going to go. It's, let me just say, It's the second topic
Yep.
in the second hour.
Yep, but that's okay. I'll just go outside
Listen,
now.
we got to do
Have a-
something in that little spot right there.
I wish there was a bar within walking distance. I'd just walk out for 10 minutes and come back. But
So here's the thing.
It won't be 10 minutes, I'll tell you that.
What you've just done, Steve, unwittingly, is make a great tease for the second topic of the second hour for people to tune back in. Because I'm not going to say what it is until we get there. Welcome, boys and girls, friends, neighbors, Romans, countrymen. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, and thanks for tuning into The Drive. And again, live from the Bigfoot Beverages Studios. Your phone calls are encouraged, 877-844-3484. Big tip of the hat as well to all of our affiliates. We had a little scare internally with technical stuff, and everybody hung with me. AM 960 Sports, our good friends at KLAD in Klamath Falls. Fox Sports, Newport 92.7 KNCU. The 8 Sports Radio, Joe and I were on the phone a lot today. 107.9, 1300 AM, KDSO. And, of course, Joey Keyran, the great Joey Keyran, 1490 AM and 92.3 FM, KSKR. They call it The Score there in Roseburg. Boys, what'd you do this weekend? Come on, spill it. I can say what I did because it was a quick weekend, and I was here a lot.
I didn't do a lot. It was our first empty nest weekend without any children in our
that's
home.
why I'm interested. Well,
So
I want to know the stuff we can share.
I grilled some chicken last night. Because nowadays that's like a week's worth of meals. I threw like 4 of them on there, and I said, "All right, now for the rest of the week, if you want to make a salad or a sandwich, we got plenty of leftover stuff." So
Like
we got
that? Love that.
Fewer mouths to feed. I don't even remember what happened Saturday. It's been a blur the last week or so. So Saturday was fun, but I couldn't tell you exactly.
So you
what we did.
grilled chicken. So what's your go-to on grilling the chicken? Because there's a secret to grilling chicken, so you're not burning it.
I just
You know
throw a
what it
bunch of
is?
seasoning and much barbecue sauce on it, and then throw it in. And
Okay,
make
but
sure
when do you put the barbecue sauce on?
I mix them all together, and then once it's on the grill, I slather it on.
Okay. All right.
Is that what you're supposed
I'm
to
not
do?
a great griller. I just
Okay.
I'm good enough to get the job done, but I'm not a one of these people who runs around talking about how great they are on the grill. I just want.
Oh, are you making an inference? I'm not saying I'm great on the grill.
No,
but
I'm not saying you either. I just have people who are like, hey, I do the brisket and this, that. I'm like, I pretty much do chicken and burgers, and I just kind of get it done. I don't do overnight 42-hour.
No, okay.
waiting
Well,
things,
yeah,
so
there's an extreme there, but I could give you a smoked salmon recipe that you'd really like, but that would take way too
might
long.
need you to come and do it once in front of me. I might have to learn by watching before I feel confident enough doing the rest.
It's not hard. So here's the thing with chicken. I can give everybody a little advice because, Justin, you've been over to my house plenty.
Mhm.
I know my way around a flat top, a grill, and a pizza oven. I
can
got it
confirm that,
down,
yes.
and a smoker. So with the chicken is you put very little seasoning on it. I mean, you put salt, pepper, and things. You grill it till it's almost done, and then like within the last 3 or 4 minutes, that's when you put the sauces and stuff on. You know why? Because the sugars in all the barbecue sauces or whatever else you're putting on it, even if it's like, because there is sugar and sodium in things like teriyaki and such, that's what's going to burn on the grill because the sugar is going to cook faster. So if some people like the char, like my dad, God rest his soul, we would keep him away from the grill when we had chicken because it would be ash coming off of the
As crispy
barbecue
as it could be.
and never done on the inside. It was charred on the outside all the way through a thick layer, like St. Helens dust, and then you'd go in and it'd be pink in the middle of the chicken. And every year we would have that argument with my father. But that's where I learned all those little tricks. Dave Preston coming up in segment number 2. We're going to have him about 10 after the hour. Dan Lanning audio. We're going to talk. I know we're going to talk about this tight end from Cleveland who's going to clear waivers, and Lane Kiffin was calling up Todd Monken asking about the tight end. Hey, are you going to cut him? Is he going to stick around? Because I want him. And so now he's going to be the first player to go backwards, but he's not the first. He's not the only player. Apparently, I floated this. I said, Anthony Hankerson, could he come back to college? And apparently the report is that the former OSU running back, Oregon State, is going to be headed back and into the transfer portal he goes. Now, my question being, when we get to that point, is that how much sense does that make unless you are uber talented with, for some teams, literally less than a week before they start really prepping for their next team, that you're going to see the field?
It's all a money decision, right? He looks
Sure.
and says, hey, I'm probably not going to make the Seahawks, so if I can get X number of NIL. I thought those guys couldn't go in the portal, though. I thought the portal was closed, so if they went back, they had to go to their old place. But again, rules are changing by the day. I'm not saying that.
You could be going back
Yes,
to
they
Oregon
are.
State.
I don't know. I mean, I think that if there's an injury situation, that's when it would really make sense, especially for something like a running back, where it's just like, okay, you stick him back there, and then they're going to run the ball. So
We'll stay on the Beavers. They've named their starting quarterback.
Saw that.
And so we'll talk about that in the last segment of this first hour. Our great friend Yogi Roth's going to join us in hour number 2. Then the segment to be named later in the 4 o'clock hour. We'll have to take an internal vote. I think there could be some rock, paper, scissors as well.
I'm just going to
involve
I'm
that.
going to ask Yogi so many questions. We don't have time for that one.
We'll still squeeze it in. So that's why you sit over there at that microphone and Justin pushes all the buttons. Bob Beeler from Boise State. We're going to delve into the Pac-12 with an opponent. And Bob Beeler, who's been a longtime voice, I think it was 2018. I got to look at my notes again. See, that's where I get. Yeah. Bob Beeler has been a good friend of this program, well, the other program. And he's a former voice of UMass. 2008. And also, he started before that at Bucknell, where he's in their Hall of Fame.
1986 to 1999.
So we'll bring Bob on at the bottom of hour number 2 to talk Boise State and the Pac-12. I'm sure he's pretty excited. Which playoff race is more interesting in the AL or NL? Who's you got your eye on? Bad news for the Blazers off the floor. We haven't even played a game yet. Well, we haven't.
Training camp yet.
Yeah, I mean, and not we. I use that in meaning the Blazers haven't. Oregon men's hoops wrapped up their exhibition fall season. We'll discuss that and some stuff off the court. The Browns, are they the easiest team to root for against in the NFL? Root for or against? And
probably not 4.
No. And Cantor Freedom. Enos Cantor Freedom cannot stop making noise off the floor. So we'll talk this whole thing with WNBA. This is getting to be a regular. It's getting so often that it's almost like becoming a non-story story. Happening almost every single game. It seems like there's another one of these incidents that flare up. So a lot to discuss, but we'll start off with our dear friend. He is a 007 aficionado, and he's a man about town. It's Dave Preston from WTOP in the Washington, D.C., Baltimore area next.
1050 AM and 1029 FM and the sportsanimaleugene.com. Broadcasting from the Bigfoot Beverages Studios. You're listening to The Drive on the Sports Animal Eugene.
At Mercedes-Benz of Eugene, we do things a little bit differently. We're one of the last independently owned automotive dealerships. At Mercedes-Benz of Eugene, we do things a little bit differently. We're one of the last independently owned automotive dealerships with a young and energetic sales staff, no pressure sales tactics, and you don't have to travel outside of Lane County to get the best deal possible. We have more than 200 new and pre-owned vehicles in stock now, and we invite you to come see for yourself at Mercedes-Benz of Eugene.
Actually, you know what sounds kind of good? Chicken bones. Yeah, that would make things better. All you could eat wings for $27.95 and dollar beers from Cold Fire Cold Store. That would really make things better. Ooh, and the sauces. The sauces are to die for. In fact, now I'm kind of hungry. Oh, man. Now I need to go to Chicken Bones.
Make no bones about it. Chicken Bones has the best wings in Lane County. All you can eat wings, great sauces, and awesome burgers. Open daily at 11 a.m. on Pioneer Parkway in the Safeway Center. Check us out on Facebook or call 541-726-0111. That's 541-726-0111. Chicken Bones, chicken with an attitude.
Hi, this is Drew from Dalton Carpet on West 11th in Eugene. Dalton Carpet is family owned and operated and proud to serve you for 30 years. Now more than ever, someone you know is walking on a Dalton floor. Do you have a flooring project? Get your summer off to a new start. Lane County's best selection with hundreds of rolls of carpet and thousands of feet of click-together flooring on display and in stock right now at unbeatable prices. Come see us today at Dalton Carpet, right here on West 11th in Eugene.
If your credit card bills have gotten out of hand, call Consolidated Credit now. If the interest rates on your credit cards are so high, it'll take years to get out of debt. Call Consolidated Credit now. They've helped over 10 million people without destroying your credit. They can reduce your interest rates, lower your total payments up to 50% to get you out of debt fast. For a free consultation, call Consolidated Credit now. The program works.
Call 800-499-4107. 800-499-4107. 800-499-4107.
Consolidated Credit Solutions Incorporated, 5701 West Sunrise Boulevard, Fort Lauderdale, Florida 33313. Licensed by the New York Department of Financial Services and by the Vermont Department of Financial Regulation. Kansas CSO 0019051. Maryland DM 1492. Oregon DM 892. Licensed by the Virginia State Corporation Commission, license number TC83. Service may adversely affect the individual's credit. Non-payment of debts may lead to additional finance charges or collections activity, including legal action. Actual interest rates, length of program, and monthly payment reductions will vary by consumer and creditor. Yours could be higher or lower. Not a loan company. We do not lend money.
1050 AM, 1029 FM, and the sportsanimaleugene.com. Other stations can say they cover the Ducks and Beavers, but we bring the receipts. You're listening to The Drive on the Sports Animal Eugene.
The great Yogi Roth will join us top of hour number 2. Bob Beeler, the voice of Boise State, as well next hour. Your phone calls as well for the last hour, most of the last hour on the Oregon Man Clinics hotline. 541-844-3484, toll free 877-844-3484 as we're broadcasting throughout the state in one of the largest networks around. This is the Sports Animal Audio Network. Let's head on over to the Oregon Man Clinics hotline live from the Bigfoot Beverages Studios and welcome in a good friend of ours. You can follow him on the socials at Dave Presto, just like a magician. He's been a big fan of the NFL. And for this new listening audience, Dave Preston's first foray into sports broadcasting. I'm reading this from your bio, Dave. 9-year-old announcing miniature golf for you and your cousins. He shot a 75 for third place and it was told to be quiet multiple times. And you suffered a mild sunburn. Has that been recovered?
Well, I mean, the thing is, I'm a quarter Norwegian. It's all in my skin. I don't burn, I char. And it was one of those things. You're playing mini golf. You know, when it's everyone else's turn, you basically flip it, and you're talking into the head of the club. And that was when everybody did Howard Cosell. So you're doing that, and it was a lot of fun. We went one time, and I think my Aunt Alice actually fudged the numbers in a manner because I was the guest cousin visiting. So I won the first time we played, and then the second time I thought I could play. And it's like, no kid gloves. So, DAV Presto. I took the last letter off each of my first and last names for the fun on X, on Twitter, and all the other fine socials. So looking forward to another, what should be an exciting Big Ten season, gentlemen.
Absolutely. He works for WTOP. He covers the Eastern Seaboard like a glove, and especially Maryland and Rutgers, George Mason, Georgetown, George Washington, American Howard. You write a weekly basketball. You still doing the weekly basketball column?
Still do the weekly Beltway basketball beat. It used to be the Beltway basketball bonanza, but then I think the heirs of Michael Landon and Lauren Green got after me. So now it's just the Beltway basketball beat. I also write for WTOP.com. College football corner that drops Sunday morning. So usually has the highs and lows of the locals. And because in Washington, D.C., we have this wide net. So it's Maryland, it's Virginia Tech. It's also Navy. They should have an interesting year as they're favored to win the American Conference this year. We also touch on James Madison because even though they're out there, they're closer to us than Blacksburg is. So we've yet to – it's one of those things people say, hey, can you write about West Virginia and Liberty? It's like, that's kind of like a bridge too far. How late do I want to be up Saturday night? So that's every Sunday morning. And then every Friday morning, we preview the weekend's action, gentlemen, with Presto's Picks, where we pick the games. We also pick which wines and cheeses Kippy and Buffy will be having for their tailgate at Scott Stadium for the University of Virginia. If there's anything you should know about the University of Virginia, they have a pop collar crowd persona that we poke the bear regularly about their pretentiousness.
It's Dave Preston. He's also an AP Top 25 voter, has been for quite a while. So, Dave, let's start with the Big Ten, obviously, and let's go right there to Maryland. Is Mike Locksley on the hot seat? because it seems like, is their patience running out, or does he have some of the cats ready to play for the Terrapins this year that he can have a better than average season?
I think it's one of those, it's a complex question, and you're going to get a complex answer. They need to win at UConn in week 2 in order for things to continue to go right. If they lose at UConn in week 2, then I think all bets are off, and then you're looking at a season that very well could be another disaster. He does have Malik Washington on campus, and I think Malik is good enough for 2 or 3 wins on his own. They had an incredible start last year, started 4-0 in September, first ever win at Wisconsin for this program, and then they proceeded to drop back-to-back one-score games against teams that they should have at least won 2 of those games. I thought that they would have lost at Wisconsin, but then would have bounced back to win over Washington, and they were up big in the second half of that game. I thought that they would split between UCLA and and Nebraska. UCLA was a hot mess at one point, but they wound up losing all 3 in just insufferable ways. And so we know that if there's one thing that we've learned about Coach Loxley's teams over the years, they start hot in September. They have a lot of skill position players that you're going to hear about, from Talia Tagovailoa to the wide receivers that they've been able to place in the NFL over the last couple of years to now Malik Washington. But it feels like they always lose one-score game a year against a team that they should not lose to. And last year, I think they lost 3 of those, and that blew up their season. And they were one of the few teams. You look at the leagues that you start 4-0 and then you finish 0-8. That's something you don't see. They need to win on the road at UConn. They also, I think that they also need a decent showing at UCLA to start or against UCLA to start Big Ten play. And they also need to fare well against Virginia Tech. They don't need to beat the Hokies, but they need to play well enough to not be outclassed, especially because James Franklin is now competing for the same athletes in the same area as Mike Loxley, has and will be doing.
Dave, this is Steve Bims. Hey, with Rutgers, I saw where Greg Schiano at Media Day was saying that for the first time they have the NIL budget to be competitive, and he was talking about that they have alignment with the AD and the president and him. Is there a feeling that they're ready to make a jump, or is it feeling like they're kind of still where they've been?
It's still Rutgers, and you know what? They can do what they want to do. They can say what they want to say. Schiano was able to resuscitate the program in his first tenure with the team. In fact, actually, a guy that I used to know in the Arlington, Virginia area, just outside of Washington, D.C., he's now moved, but he and I were talking about college football, and he's, I'm actually the first player that Schiano ran off the program when he took over Rutgers way back when. So he was the part of something big. I think Rutgers is a let's see, because there are so many quality programs in the Big Ten, so many programs where you just don't have talent, but you also have depth. And that's where a lot of the ancillary NIL money comes into play. It's just, yes, you need great players, but you also need, and you don't need just 5 offensive linemen. You need 8 really to get through a season. And that's on the short side. You need guys, because somebody's going to get hurt at some point in time on both sides of the ball, that you need guys who are able to step in even mid-game. I think one of the things that hurt Maryland last year was that they didn't have a lot of depth. And fourth quarter, guys like Daniel Wingate was gassed because he was on the field for 60 to 75 snaps instead of 50 to 65. So just like Maryland, who doesn't have maybe the necessary depth and talent, I don't think Rutgers has that. I think they will be scrappy. They will steal some games and maybe 1 or 2 that maybe they shouldn't win this fall. But again, the Big Ten, best conference in the country, and apologies to Sammy from Starkville and who else do we have? Augie from Auburn. Our friends in Athens. The Big Ten is the best conference top to bottom, and even the schools that don't have the resources, you'd think like the Minnesotas, the Northwesterns, even the Marylands can sneak up and bite you if you don't have your P's and Q's in order. So I think Rutgers has a chance to make the postseason. I think everybody with the way that schedules are set up, you can massage your way to 6 wins if you do everything right. It's almost like running for president. You need 270 electoral votes. And some candidates, it's going to be a grind. It's going to be a scrape, like Ohio State and Indiana and Michigan and USC. It's a landslide, Oregon too. But the schools like Maryland and Rutgers, you're looking at every game that they lose that maybe they shouldn't lose, that they counted as a win. All of a sudden that blows up the year.
Hey, Dave, this is Justin. Thanks for being back here on the KORU airwaves. It's good to have you back. You
My
touched
pleasure.
on, yeah, absolutely. And you touched on it a little bit with the Big Ten as the best conference top to bottom. I want to refer to your AP rankings. You have Ohio State number 1, Texas number 2, Georgia 3, then Oregon and Indiana that round up your top 5. Clearly, you feel like the top of the SEC is comparable with the top of the Big Ten. Just what do you think about the way that these two conferences at this point are stacking up together in terms of this season? And I want your take on Indiana as well, because Indiana is a team that I think is interesting.
Yeah, I think with Indiana, in a world where the quarterback is king, let's see how Fernando Mendoza's successor handles things and moves on from there. Let's see how they handle being the team that has the target on their back, whereas the last couple of years, even last year after a double-digit win season, I think a lot of people thought, okay, Indiana's going to have another nice year. Schedule's going to be tougher. Everyone's going to know that they're going to come and, be coming after them. And yeah, they got this new quarterback. Let's see what they can do. And they showed us what they could do. And yes, Indiana doesn't play the toughest non-conference schedule, but in the Big Ten, they won the games they needed to. So I think until pre-season top 25 now is such a mess. Back in the day, it used to be, and it's for those of us who cover a lot of different teams and a lot of different sports from the college standpoint, back in the day, you had foundational knowledge of every local team, especially, hoops and football. You knew if you covered a team after 2 years of being on the beat, you felt that you knew most of the guys coming back. There was a bedrock. Yes, there were some transfers, and yes, you were going to lose some graduates. You were going to have some hot recruits, but the bulk of the team you had an idea about. And here I had the bulk of I had Maryland, I had Virginia Tech, Navy because of their lack of transfers, because it's a service academy. You can still have that. But now with the way that rosters turn in such a ridiculous manner, it's a major challenge. So you go with what you think, but you're ready to make a lot of revisions to your top 25 within the first couple of weeks. I would say 10, 15 years ago, before I started voting, and you looked at the top 25, okay, a lot of things might hold over the first month.
All right, well, it looks like we lost Dave for a second. We'll see if we can get him back as he's talking, and Justin will figure that out. So from WTOP, Dave Preston, he was right in mid-sentence there. I had one more question I wanted to ask him. So he said, Justin said he's going to try and get him back here for a second. So, and when we get him back, what's going to be the question? Well, I'll wait to have the question. Still coming up, we'll have Yogi Roth coming up in top of next hour here on The Drive. That's what happens when we have the internet. Love that stuff. Dan Lanning audio, NFL college line is blurred. We'll talk about that. Beavers name a starting quarterback, and it's not who you think. Or maybe it is. I don't know. We'll talk about that as well in your phone calls on the Oregon Man Clinics hotline at 541-844-3484. Toll free 877-844-3484. Looks like we're getting Dave back right now as he was in mid-sentence. So, Dave, sorry about that. I don't know what happened there. I don't know if it was me or you.
At least I wasn't in mid-curse. That's never
Hey,
good.
Dave,
so I understand you guys are on stations all across the state of Oregon?
We are.
Okay, I'd like to say hi to my Aunt Shirley, who lives in the Portland suburbs, who taught me the correct pronunciation of Willamette Valley, because I love Ponzi Pinot Noir, and I'm a sucker for Oregon Pinot Noirs, and I used to call it Willamette, and she said, no, David, it's not Willamette, it's Willamette. Like, damn it, you're pronouncing it wrong.
That's fantastic. And by the way, I do know that it's close to, or unless it already is, Bombay Boomerang season, Dave.
Yes, it is. Well, Bombay Boomerang I found on a cruise ship, and it may have had a different name, but it's Bombay Sapphire, Blue Curacao, Twist of Orange, and after 3, you're the one who's down under.
There we go. All right, Dave, one last question for you, and it still stays in the Big Ten. Is there a team that could be the sneaky I don't want to say another Indiana because I don't think there's ever going to be another Indiana, right? But is there a team that you're looking at as you go up and down this 18-team conference and go, you know what, that team might be flying under the radar and could be sneaky good?
I'm always curious when there's a new coach with who takes over, who might have a different style than the players that he has recruited. This happened in basketball, in my opinion, when Bob Huggins took over West Virginia and had John Beilein's players, but they were playing Huggins-style basketball, and I think he had his best year while he was with the Mountaineers. I think it sometimes can happen in football as well. I'm curious to see what Michigan can do under a new coach, but he's far from green, far from a first-year head coach. So I'm curious to see what Michigan can do. I'm curious to see if Washington can make strides. Penn State was on track to make the playoffs last year, and then they had they had more than a few heartbreaking losses that blew up a coaching staff. But I think that they're just like Rutgers is still Rutgers. Penn State is still Penn State, and everybody in that state wants to play for the, and I'm over exaggerating maybe, but so many kids want to play for Penn State. And so many kids from New Jersey and the D.C. metro area have been drawn up there as well. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Michigan or Penn. I mean, they're great. I'm picking two blue bloods, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Michigan and Penn State bounce back from subpar seasons to crack the core that now has Indiana and Oregon in the mix.
Dave, you're a pleasure and a joy. We look forward to talking with you frequently as we head through football and into basketball, because we know basketball is the passion, and we're going to love to be able to dive into it with you on a somewhat regular basis. So you take care of yourself, take care of that family, and we'll talk soon.
Excellent. And before I go, I'm also a big James Bond fan. I host a podcast called Bond, James Bond Ranked, where we rank all the different aspects of the James Bond series, from the actor who plays Bond to the Bond girl to the plot to the song and title sequence. It's on wherever you find your podcast. It's a nice way to waste an hour.
Well, I got to ask then, who do you want the new James Bond to be?
I was early into the Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Okay.
I picked him early. I saw him in, if you guys have a chance to check out a movie called Nowhere Boy, it's got Kristen Scott Thomas starring. Aaron Taylor, before he became Aaron Taylor Johnson, plays a teenage John Lennon. And he's awesome in it. This is basically a prequel to Backbeat. This is when the Quarrymen and John meets Paul and George and what have you. This is pre-Ringo. And it's about John as a young, a young man who winds up losing his mother to a traffic accident. He's very sharp in that, and he's been good in a lot of other things, but he's not too big a star that he's going to overwhelm, I think, the marquee. Like you see with usually the best cast Bond actors are guys who are just a little bit under the radar. Not the Cary Grant, but the Sean Connery. Not the not the David Niven, but the Roger Moore. Not the Clive Owen, but the Daniel Craig.
Very good assessment, and that's one more thing Justin won't watch. Probably, I'm telling you. I can't even get him to watch Field of Dreams, Dave. So I don't know about
kind
this.
Of upsetting. Best baseball movie for me remains The Naked Gun.
Yes, I was just talking about that today.
Okay, all right, you two,
Excellent.
go get a room and get your own podcast. All right, Dave, thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, bud. Dave Preston.
That was awesome.
He's such a joy. That was your first exposure to our friend Dave Preston from WTOP. 4 questions. That's all it took.
He should learn how to promote himself better.
I'll tell you what, and he'll be like that every single time. It is a joy to listen to. All right, we come back. Let's hear from Dan Lanning. The NFL and college line, is it blurred? Well, I guess we could say that's a pretty silly question because we know it is. Beavers name a starting quarterback all in this next half hour on The Drive.
Don't change the channel. Your radio might explode. Okay, not really. But you miss a minute of The Drive, you might miss something, well, spectacular.
On we go.
The Drive is back on 102.9 FM and 1050 AM. The Sports Animal.
Hey, Jerry Shop Talk here with a little perfect project pro tip.
No matter what kind of project you're doing, the most valuable tool in your toolkit is going to be Jerry's Jerry.
We've got every tool you need to get the job done right.
Yep.
Plus, friendly, knowledgeable people.
Mm-hmm.
And we won't be undersold.
Really, it's a no-brainer. Whatever you've got in mind, better head for Jerry's.
In Eugene and Springfield.
Tool on over.
Today.
To see what I did there?
Of course I did. That was good.
Nice.
And we're back on Jerry's Shop Talk with a perfect project pro tip.
Before you start any home makeover, make over your mind. Tell yourself you're going to do the best do-it-yourself you can.
Don't just Google, YouTube, and get some stuff delivered.
Get real hands-on help from real knowledgeable people who won't be undersold.
Really? Want a better project outcome?
Better head for Jerry's.
In Eugene and Springfield.
Thank you.
Did I project enough?
That was perfect.
Thank you.
Men like to get the most out of things. We expect results when we hit the gym, and we expect to finish our weekend to-do list. We also expect ourselves to never slow down, even when some things start to get a little harder. Low testosterone levels might be slowing you down. That's when Oregon Man Clinics step in. Sharpen your focus, regain energy levels, and improve your love life with treatment options tailored to you. Get the most out of being a man. Visit us online at our Springfield, Bend, and Albany locations.
Almost every car made over the last 10 years has a camera. Did you know that when you replace a windshield, the camera needs recalibrated? If your glass provider doesn't fix the camera, you could have issues with safety features like forward collision alert, adaptive cruise control, or emergency braking. Don't trust some guy in a truck to fix or replace your windshield and then have to make a second appointment to calibrate your camera. You need Olson's Auto Glass, 2041 West 7th Avenue in Eugene. Olson's Auto Glass, repairing windshields since 1938.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow, you sound just like him.
Then he said.
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Did you know that migraine is a disabling disease affecting over 36 million Americans? The pain of migraine sufferers is often so bad their lives just stop. The American Migraine Foundation helps people living with migraine to find the support and treatment they need. If you, a friend, or a family member suffer from migraine, go to AmericanMigraineFoundation.org to learn more, find help, and get connected. Make your move against migraine.
Sometimes they're right.
Rest my case.
Sometimes they're wrong.
You want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
But no ears were harmed in the making of their disagreements.
I don't know what we're yelling about.
You're listening to The Drive on the Sports Animal Eugene.
Magically turning the radio program into a podcast, you can go to wherever you consume your music, or things like Spotify, Apple, Amazon, iHeart. We're on all the podcast platforms, and if you just go to Sports Animal EUG, you can find us, and then you like and subscribe, and when we start a new show or we upload one, then you're going to get a notification. Easy as that. It's kind of a friendly little reminder that we're on the air. YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch as well with The Drive. I'm Danny. There's Steve and Justin and you, and all of our affiliates across the state of Oregon, down in Medford, Newport, Roseburg, Klamath Falls. You heard John Canzano return to the airwaves a little earlier on all those radio stations, including this one in Eugene on the Sports Animal, the originating station of the Sports Animal Audio Network. John is back from 2 to 3 with the Bald-Faced Truth Unfiltered. Somewhat filtered, though. I do have to say it has to be at least a little bit filtered because there are FCC regulations that we have to abide by. So John understands that. It's a good listen. He's the lead into our show. And life comes full circle.
How does Howard Stern get away with that then?
Because he's on Sirius XM. It is a subscription.
They can be unfiltered there.
They can say whatever they want because you are paying to be swore at.
Okay. Makes sense.
It's the best way I can describe it. And it's not terrestrial radio. We could really go down a rabbit hole here on this, but we're not going to bore people with that because it's a public
You would know all
license.
about it, though.
I have to know all those things now. I have to be a little bit smarter than I need to be.
Steve and I just show up.
No, that's not the case.
Justin's got to have that dump button whenever Neil Everett or Brad come on.
Yeah, for in the future. Locally in Eugene area, 541-844-3484. The Oregon Man Clinic's hotline, toll-free 877-844-3484. Live from the Bigfoot Beverages studios. And again, if you missed Dave Preston, go back and take a listen. The man knows how to self-promote. And he's got a lot of oars in the water, and he's actually a very funny man. I've been able to speak with him off the air. He's just as entertaining off the air as he is on. So go back to the podcast, listen to that. Yogi Roth, top of next hour. Bob Beeler, as I said, we'll talk some Oregon men's hoops and a little NFL. We're going to sprinkle a few things in here, a little baseball as well, and a special segment in hour number 2 that Steve Mims cannot wait for. In fact, he just asked me during the break if we could move it up into this segment, Justin, and I said, no, we have to wait. It's something that needs to build. And so next hour, around 20 after the hour, you want to be listening, if you're not already, to this radio program. Get all your friends and neighbors together because we have a big thing we want to talk about. Dan Lanning was on the John Canzano BFT Unfiltered a little earlier today. They did touch on this a bit. So has everyone seen the story? Justin, you want to tell the kids out there the reason that we're talking about the NFL and the college line being blurred? Because there is the first exodus, apparently. Now, there are some hoops still to get through, is that there's a player that's not been on one but 2 NFL preseason rosters who is getting waived by the Cleveland Browns. He's a tight end. In fact, he just played in their last preseason game, who is apparently, if he clears waivers, going to head back to college and go to LSU. Todd Monken, the head coach from the Browns, was like, yeah, now I know why Lane Kiffin was calling me earlier in the week. It's because he wanted the tight end I want to get rid of. So what do we got?
Yeah, Daquan Wright. He's a former Ole Miss guy, and it sounds like that there's been some contact between him and LSU where, according to his agent, Drew Rosenhaus, which is, he's in the middle of all these things, it seems like, that he's going to go back to LSU if he gets cleared of the waivers, which, if I'm being honest, it sounds like he's probably going to clear waivers. Why would a team claim him at this point is sort of what I'm thinking.
Well, his heart's not in it. So, 2, I mean, I don't know how talented he's already been cut. I mean, we haven't. Well, we're only 2 weeks. It's going to be cut from 2 teams in 2 weeks.
Here's what I want to know. And I think there's been a little bit of this in the NBA, but I don't know how much even. But I want to know, so say he goes back to college. He's awesome. He has 1,200 yards, 12 touchdowns. Does he all of a sudden become eligible for the NFL draft, even though he's been on an NFL team before? Like, how does this work?
I don't think so. I think that he would now be considered,
a free agent.
I believe that actually, here's the scenario. He goes to LSU, has 12 catches for 120 yards in each of the first 2 games. I think he could leave and go to the NFL as a free agent because he's already NFL eligible, I believe.
Well, I guess we're going to be watching this because there's going to be some precedent setting.
So that'd be funny for Lane if he pulls a Lane and all of a sudden the guy bails on him. He pulls a Lane and bails right before the playoff because somebody needs one. But
that's what you call pulling a Lane. Let's hear Dan. I want to hear our reactions to Dan Lanning and what he said about this blurry line between the college and the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of negatives that are involved around this. One, once you go to the NFL, to me, you're in the NFL. You don't get the opportunity to come back. 2, most of us have built our rosters, and you have a limited roster limit now. So if you invited somebody back to your team, that means you're kicking somebody else off your team, right, to match your roster limits. I don't think that's fair to the players that worked all summer, all spring, and put themselves in position to be ready to work for a team. To have somebody come back. But ultimately, it used to be once you had an agent or once you went and did the combine or once you went to all those things qualified as you are no longer an amateur, you're a professional now once you declare for the draft. So to let any of those players come back, fair or unfair to them, it's unfair to the sport. And I think it's unfair to the players that are on current teams, for those guys to be coming back.
So that's where I was going to go immediately to, because it's like now you can have coaches at the higher levels recruiting players from the NFL that either get cut. I mean, this goes everyone's always looking for a good lineman, right? And if they've got college now, if they've got college eligibility left, according to the rules, the way they are stated right now, you literally could start recruiting again before the season starts. So there are no restrictions. It's not tampering or anything else. They're not on somebody else's collegiate team. So it's now you want to talk about the Wild West. Holy smokes.
It's even wilder than it was a year ago.
So, and the guy who's starting this whole mess, shocking is Lane Kiffin. He had something to say about this, right?
I don't have the audio for it, but
Okay.
he did have a statement, and I don't know if it was a statement. It was a conversation with somebody, it sounds like. But he said, at the end of the day, because of these rulings, you're either going to play for you or they're going to play for somebody else around the country. So we've made the decision to recruit them like probably most people are, which I think is fair to a point. And that's, I think, something the Bald Faced Truth Unfiltered that Dan said was something along the lines of you have to protect coaches from themselves. And I think that's what's happening in this case is you're going to see coaches, if there's a player available to them by the rules, why wouldn't they get them? Because somebody else is going to get them, and they're there because they're going to win. So at this point, you have to have somebody that's going to be there and doing what's right for the sport instead of just what's right for the individuals. And so that's what's the problem with the NCAA not having any teeth, right? Steve?
Correct. And that's why I don't blame Lane Kiffin. He's just taking advantage of a rule and he's adding more to his team. I respect what Dan Lanning says that, hey, we're not going to. Part of that, Dan's probably got 100, and I think 105 is the roster limit now. Dan's probably got 105 pretty good players. Lane may have been a little short just because he came in, in the first year, and I don't know how many guys left, how many he ran off, how many he brought in. He may have been a little short of the 105, so he can bring him. I think Dan's point is, hey, if you're bringing in somebody and you're at 105, now you're cutting a guy who's been with you all summer. That's pretty crummy. And I don't know if that's happened with Lane. So I don't blame Lane if he's just bringing in somebody he's got a roster spot. Hey, this is college football. Everybody's trying to win. Everybody's taking advantage of everything that's out there. But I think with Dan, the point is that, hey, these other guys have been with us, and you're not going to create a roster spot with it. I respect that. But again, it also comes from, Dan Lanning's at the point where if he's got 105 players, he's probably got 84 and 5-star recruits, maybe 75. So it's to say that if Memphis doesn't have the same opportunity and they don't have that kind of talent and a former 4-star comes back available, it's a little different deal. So it's a little easier, I think, for Dan to say that because his roster is so stacked and people think he has one of the top 1, 2, 3 rosters in college football. If he was coaching at Rutgers right now and a couple of people came available and he had a couple extra roster spots, he might be more likely to, just because you kind of do what you need to do and he doesn't need to do it right now.
Well, but you made a couple of caveat statements there that I'm going to amplify on is if they have a roster spot. What if they don't have it? Do you think it's crummy if they don't have a roster spot? Because I think it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think
you're telling somebody who's been with you all summer, but again, I mean, that's
the arms race that is college football. Is that guy is not going to keep you your job. The 105th guy on the roster is going to keep the job. Yet maybe one of these other players is. I think that now we're headed for yet more lawsuits, more injunctions, more appeals just with this.
Absolutely.
Why
not?
not?
Why not?
100%.
Why not?
Let's have some fun with that,
Keep
boys.
doing. Get eligible.
Already. All right. Somebody who is eligible, who didn't declare for the NFL draft, didn't get drafted or sign as an undrafted free agent, is now been officially named the new quarterback, the starting quarterback for Oregon State. Teaser alert, it's not Malik Murphy, but I'll tell you who it is next when we return on The Drive.
Nothing is too big for the sports animal to handle. That's what she said. Your home for me, Dan Patrick, 6 to 9 a.m. weekdays, and The Drive with Danny.
At Mercedes-Benz of Eugene, we do things a little bit differently. We're one of the last independently owned automotive dealerships with a young and energetic sales staff, no pressure sales tactics, and you don't have to travel outside of Linn County to get the best deal possible. We have more than 200 new and pre-owned vehicles in stock now, and we invite you to come see for yourself at Mercedes-Benz of Eugene.
GMC Sierra 3500 Denali Ultimate Crew Cab 4x4. Stop by Kendall Chevrolet GMC of Eugene and save today. Kendall, let's start something great.
VIN number TZ419764 and TF249826. $0 security deposit based on 10,000 miles per year. See lease posting at Kendall Chevrolet GMC or call 877-371-8620 for complete lease details. 0% APR for up to 60 months with $1,667 for $1,000 borrowed. All financing and approved credit. Price does not include title, registration, or tax. Subject to prior sales. See dealer for details. Offer expires 8/31/26.
It kind of sneaks up on you. You're more tired than you should be, a little less focused, a little less motivated. Maybe you've gained a little weight. It's normal. A lot of men experience it, but that doesn't mean you have to live with it. At Hale Men's Clinic, personalized testosterone therapy can help you restore your energy, your clarity, your edge. Real solutions, real results. Hale Men's Clinic. Feel good now. Curious about your levels? Walk into Hale Men's Clinic in Eugene, Bend, or Roseburg for your free testosterone test today. More info at halemensclinic.com.
Oregon. Land of forest green, mountains snowy white. Land of nature lovers' dream, beauty to match delight. Where sunlit paths wind their way around mountain, lake, and stream. Be careful never to start a wildfire. Please, keep Oregon green.
Hi, I'm Kevin Love. Sony Pictures Animation's film GOAT is out now, and we've created something special to go with it. Inspired by the film, GOAT Beyond the Game is a free curriculum that gives kids creative ways to support their emotional well-being. Designed to help kids build their confidence, stay focused, and navigate their emotions, the program brings the film's core themes into the classroom through fun activities. These are evidence-based tools that actually work and will help kids discover they have the power to change the game. Visit kevinlovefund.org and download it today for your classroom or family.
Hey man, I always see those pics you post of you and your family at special events. What gives?
Oh yeah, VetTix. VetTix gives.
What's VetTix?
VetTix is an awesome charity that gives free event tickets, like concerts, sporting events, and shows. It's currently serving military and vets, including the immediate family of troops killed in action.
I've got extra tickets. Can I donate them?
Yeah, it's easy. Just go to vettix.org. You could give your extra tickets and other vets like me can sign up to get them.
Cool, I'm on it. And hey, thank you for your service.
The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking.
I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
I kept on trying, learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
No matter how many times it takes.
We did it, so can you.
For free help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and CDC.
1050 AM and 1029 FM and the SportsAnimalEugene.com. Broadcasting from the Bigfoot Beverages Studios. You're listening to The Drive on the Sports Animal Eugene.
Yogi Roth coming up top of the hour here on The Drive. We had Dave Preston from WTOP. The east side of the Big Ten, since this is a coast-to-coast conference, covers Maryland, Rutgers, George Mason, Georgetown. He even snuck in the little James Madison there, which I was surprised by. So we'll have him on as a regular, not every single week, but we'll have him on as a regular as we get deeper into the season. Oregon doesn't play Maryland this year. It's one thing in the oddity of the schedule. They do not take on the Terps.
Only played them once so far, right?
Played him here. I know I was at the game when they played him here 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know if they played
That was
there.
when I believe Dylan set the touchdown passing record, if I'm not mistaken.
They definitely blew him out.
They definitely did.
They did not play them last year either. So it will be 2 years in a row. So that means the 2-year rotation will turn around and they'll get them the next couple of years after that. Let's move up north. And by the way, open phones for the rest of the hour. This is a quick segment, though. The Oregon Man Clinic's hotline open for you at 541-844-3484. Toll free 877-844-3484. Live from the Bigfoot Beverages Studios. So Oregon State has a new starting quarterback. Mercer transfer. Braden Atkinson has won the job over returning starter Malik Murphy, and Western Michigan transfer Brady Jones in a fierce quarterback battle. Atkinson won the Jerry Rice Award as the top freshman in FCS last year. For Mercer, he completed 66% of his passes, 35.96 in terms of yards, 34 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. He's not fleet of foot. He got sacked 12 times, I think, and he ran once. That was a supposed run. So he is definitely the prototypical drop-back passer. And the kid has won the starting job. Mitch Donlin loves him. So he said decision-making, Coach Donlin did, was a critical factor in the quarterback competition. And he says he talks like we do as coaches. This is a quote. He's 18 years old. He's the second OSU quarterback to have won the Jerry Rice Award. This is not great news for Oregon State fans because the other Jerry Rice winner was Giovanni McCoy at Idaho, and everybody knows how that turned out. So immediate thoughts was, for me, and I'll let you guys open it up, is you just lost Malik Murphy. Because I don't know how he comes back after what happened, and maybe some of it was self-inflicted. I'm not going to get into all that in the X's and O's and such, but
the one thing that Malik Murphy could have said he had was the ability to throw the ball and have a strong arm, because he's also not a runner. He just lost out the job to somebody who's obviously better at that and better at making decisions, according to the coaches, than him. I think emotionally, I think it's really hard for somebody like that now, who came back as the heir apparent, who came back to school with this new coaching staff, to go, I'm going to stay involved.
I felt like they kind of lost Malik Murphy last year. It felt like he lost some of his love. I think he, signed a big $1.5 million last year to go to Oregon State, and it felt like even then that he was on his third school. He'd been kind of run out of Duke. It seemed like a guy who was just taking the money. And hey, I mean, he went out and tried and played hard, but I never felt like last year. I mean, it felt like a guy who was just trying to kind of get the money. And I think he probably took a big pay cut this year, but if he went out on the market again, he probably found that it wasn't quite as ripe for him. And so I hadn't done a whole lot of research on the Atkinson, but looking at it, I mean, we've seen some pretty good success stories of guys jumping up from FCS. Trinidad Chambas, I think, was actually Division II. Oregon's seen it with Vernon Adams. We've seen it quite a bit where that happens. And so I don't, a guy I would assume who was starting at Mercer last year as a freshman, has 3 years of eligibility, was probably in some demand in the transfer portal. I saw today that he got like 500,000. So, I mean, there were probably some places they had to beat out for him. So, reading between the lines, I would guess that probably from the moment he committed, he was probably the more likely guy. And I would think he came here with the idea that he was going to get it. And he probably outplayed Malik in the non-conference. And, but again, Malik's got to stick around, right? You don't get the paychecks if you leave. So he's going to stick around, but we'll see. Again, it's almost interesting too, to say, would you almost have said, hey, Malik, you go play Houston and Texas Tech and get beat up, and then we'll save Atkinson for the third game because we want to kind of save his confidence? That would have been maybe a thought, that maybe you send Malik out there as the veteran against those two teams, knowing you're probably going to take your lumps, rather than risking Atkinson getting hurt or getting his confidence shattered in those two games.
Yeah, that's interesting. Although the other side of the coin is you want to get the guy reps against really good teams, and even if it doesn't go well, then you know what to work on, I guess. That's sort of what I think you hear coaches say when they play teams that are significantly better than them. And do they get a lot of value out of that? Sometimes I'm not so sure, but I think that would maybe be the argument against that. To your point, Danny, about Malik Murphy and losing him, I don't think they care.
Yeah,
to be honest with you. Like, I just think that they're at the point now where they know that, it's a previous regime that brought him in, and he's a guy that had a lot of hype. And at this point, they're just kind of willing to move on. So,
well, okay.
I mean, what is Malik Murphy going to go?
Well,
do?
no, wait a
Leave
second.
In the middle of the school year,
They obviously thought they had something in him. Otherwise, they wouldn't have asked him back. They would have turned that NIL money over to somebody else.
Isn't he making like a third of what he was?
But
making
it
last
wouldn't
year, though?
matter. Even if it's $100,000, that's another $100,000. Go out and get another offensive lineman, or get a tight end or something like that.
I think to Justin's point, they probably thought, hey, we can get him at a discount. At least he's played. We don't know how this Mercer guy is going to do with this. We can get them both for a combined $1 million for 2. We'll see how it goes. And
I don't know. I just think it's somewhat of a flippant comment to say they don't care. I mean, I don't get the sense with this coaching staff that they
care
don't
about the human being. I'm just saying they don't care if his feelings are hurt, I think is what.
Well, of course.
They're not going to worry that he's gonna go running and be a cancer to the team, because
I'm not saying it was feelings hurt. I'm just saying, though, mentally with what he went through, and he was what, eight touchdowns, 9 interceptions, or maybe they were flipped.
It was something.
It was
like
bad.
That. It was really bad.
But I mean, but also that wasn't all on him.
Yeah,
I mean,
the
coaching staff was a disaster. Every side of the ball was a disaster. They couldn't even hold on to a ball on a snap in special teams.
Yeah.
I mean, the band was better last year than the football team was.
That's true.
I didn't study the band that closely, but I'm like,
what?
Was it the tuba player who really impressed
There's
you?
There's a lot of good band players.
I think Malik Murphy's trying to build up his value again, basically.
All right, we'll see what that goes on.
No, but we all know he might get another year next year. Who knows?
Yeah, who
Build up
knows?
that value.
Yogi Roth might have some thoughts on this and other things. We're going to talk to our governor of college football next here. Hour number 2 of The Drive starts right after this. Stay tuned.
$10:50 a.m., 102.9 FM, and the SportsAnimalEugene.com. Other stations can say they cover the Ducks and Beavers, but we bring the receipts. You're listening to The Drive on the Sports Animal Eugene.
Millions of Americans are glued to their TV weekly, watching a sport they love. Come and relive your childhood at A&J Sports Cards. They have a wide variety of sports cards and memorabilia. Eugene's home for collecting is A&J Sports Cards. Whether you're looking for the stars from the past or the present, you'll find them at A&J Sports Cards. They are here to meet your hobby needs. That's A&J Sports Cards, 1478 West 6th Avenue, 541-343-5561.
Once the Oregon football game is over and you're stuck trying to get out of Autzen or waiting for traffic to lighten up on I-5, wouldn't it be nice to talk about the game? The Sports Animal has your answer. The fifth quarter call-in is a comprehensive look at the Duck game, the Big 12, Pac-12, and all the action from college football. Your calls, audio from the press conferences, and again, your calls on the Oregon Man Clinic's hotline, 541-844-3484, or toll-free 877-844-3484. Share your joy. Share your grief. Your opinion on the only call-in program covering the Ducks. The fifth quarter starts immediately after the game ends. Here on your number one source for sports in Oregon, the Sports Animal.
At Sun Automotive, we are changing the image of the automotive industry. Our country depends upon cars and trucks, and our automotive technicians are the essential workers that keep families safe and businesses moving. At Sun Automotive, being an automotive technician isn't a plan B. It's a future and an important career that challenges you to grow and gives you the satisfaction of keeping people safe and on the road. For the best service under the sun, come to Sun Automotive.
Hey, Max, you look absolutely dashing in that purple tie. Ready to harness the world?
You bet, Daisy. I'm ready as I'll ever be. And might I say, your purple tie really pops with your vest.
Thanks. I almost went with a cape, but didn't want to come across as pretentious.
Nonsense. Anyone in our line of work should rock a cape.
You might be onto something, Max.
Phew. So here we go. First day on the job. We got this, right?
Right. Don't forget, we both graduated from Dogs Inc. with honors.
Which means I can guide my human around a busy city with ease.
And I can give my human a restful night.
I hope my human is kind and loving.
And I hope mine likes wet kisses and zoomies.
Ready to make a difference?
Born ready. Let's go.
Discover how extraordinary dogs like Daisy and Max change lives at no cost to the recipients. Visit dogsinc.org.
KORE Springfield, Eugene, 1050 AM. Translated on 275CX 1029 FM. This is the Sports Animal, Eugene.
Welcome back to The Drive on the Sports Animal Audio Network. I'm Danny. That's Steve. Over there, Justin. And you on the Oregon Man Clinic's hotline, locally in Eugene, 541-844-3484, toll-free 877-844-3484, live from the Bigfoot Beverages studios here for a Monday. Coming up later on this hour, Bob Beeler, first visit with the voice of the Broncos of Boise State. Are you more interested in the AL race or the NL race if you're following Major League Baseball? A couple of topics before we get ready for Yogi Roth, who's coming up in this next segment. We have another topic for this hour.
I think Goose is the most excited about that one.
That we're
Yogi Roth. I'm very excited for Yogi Roth.
The other topic we're going to reveal after we're done with Yogi Roth. It'll be in the short life of this program, it will be the shortest segment that we ever have, because it'll just be you and I talking about it for a second. There will not be any participation. I do think Goose might leave the studio for a few moments. That's how we're gonna.
Is that like
we're gonna
fun?
try. No,
I don't know that that's fun. I don't know that that counts as fun.
What do you mean?
This is great because I know people are going to listen after this segment. They're going to stay tuned for the next segment. They want to find out what's got Goose's goat right now. Oregon Men's Hoop on hour number 3. Joe Lenardi came out with his way early.
And the Ducks are in.
Bracket. No, they're not.
Yeah, they are.
Okay, Lenardi says I'm looking at one right here that does not have Oregon.
I saw one last week. They had him as a 10 seed facing, of course, Creighton, because every time Dana Altman goes to the postseason, he has to run into Creighton at some point.
So, and Dana Altman, once he gets himself into not himself, when he gets his team into the tournament, he's dangerous in that first game. Nobody wants to take on Dana Altman's squad in that first round.
I don't think he's ever lost in that first round, unless I'm
why-
forgetting a recent one.
That's what I'm saying. So, okay, maybe it's not Joe Lenardi, but I thought Joe Lenardi does ESPN's bracketology.
I don't know. I'll show
Because
you
he's got.
I sent you. Didn't you read the pre-show notes I sent over?
I read some of them, and then I went on my own and I looked, and he says I'm just looking at it right now. I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm looking at one right here. It says first 4 out: Oregon, Oklahoma, Providence, and Xavier. Last 4 in: Creighton, VCU, TCU, and Iowa. So maybe I got the wrong article.
What's the date of yours?
It says 8/24/20. Oh, that's when I printed it. It said it was right after the transfer portal closed. That's when he came out with it.
No.
So now he's updated already.
An updated one. We got an
Okay.
updated one on 8/18/26, 8/18/26, 7:30 a.m. Eastern time.
Okay. Well, then
And
during
Dana's
Iowa-
a 10 seed. Not that there's anything to it, but he is a.
So that
it's a
means
10
he
seed.
possibly could be. Is that one of the first 4s?
First 4 against Creighton. Again, every time Dana Altman goes to the postseason now, they make him play Creighton.
I didn't hear you say first 4.
Yeah, first 4 against
Okay.
Creighton. Winner gets BYU.
Okay, well, that's Oregon hoops. That's next hour. Bad news for the Blazers. They haven't even had a practice. They just finished the summer league a bit ago. And so, unfortunately, we'll reveal what's going on with Shaden Sharp in hour number 3. Is it pretty easy to root against the Cleveland Browns, especially if you're not a Browns fan? I think there's some Browns fans that would also say it's pretty easy to
for them
root against the
Cleveland Browns too.
So they have some discussion going on with their quarterback room, self-inflicted, and I don't know if I'd want to be Todd Monken at this point, but he is the head coach. He's got to make these
he gets
decisions
paid pretty well.
Yeah, but I mean
he gets
that's
fired. He gets paid pretty well to go away. So
all those things coming up in this hour, and as soon as Justin is down putting the phone down, we can talk. He's having a off-the-air long conversation with Yogi Roth apparently, so maybe we'll be able to get him on the program. Let's head on over to the Oregon Man Clicks hotline at 877-844-3484 and welcome in our dear friend. We call him the Governor. You can follow him as the 3-time Emmy winner. Is going to be all over the place this fall. NBC Sports, the Big Ten Network, Y Option. He's a New York Times bestseller, and he is on the socials at Yogi Roth, and he joins us right now. Yogi, how's your week been?
I'm doing great, guys. How are you?
I'm great, man. We started a topic last hour that I want to jump into with you because I don't think we've touched on it this way. It's easy to talk about the favorites and the storylines and such, but is there a team in the Big Ten that could be, and I asked this question to Dave Preston last hour, that could be a surprise to you, that could really jump up and could be their own entity, not like in Indiana, but could jump up and poke their head out of the sand and go, hey, look at us?
Yeah, for sure. It's funny you say that. Todd Blackledge and I just recorded this week's Y Option podcast about, like where's everybody wrong? Where are we wrong? Because we just had visited, I think we got to 15 of the 18 schools in training camp or spring ball, just kind of grinding and crisscrossing our way around the country. And I think it's easy to say Penn State because of their schedule. And I would say that, like if the rest of the world wasn't kind of saying that. I think it'd be easy to say Washington because they're not among the top 3, but I think they're getting enough play. So take those 2 off the table. I'm going to talk about 2 teams. One would be Minnesota. I think Minnesota is more talented than people give them credit. I'm calling their opener next Thursday night. I think Drake Lindsay is an absolute bust. I really do. I think if you said 5 years from now, I can have one quarterback on my team in the NFL, I think Drake Lindsay is going to be part of that conversation. He's 6'5", 235. He's done what a lot of bigger guys do. Is he just, he got a trainer, he's got a dietitian, he's got all those things, and he looks that way. He looks like he's someone who's 30 year of college. He's kind of lost that, freshman, youthful look, if you will. So I think Minnesota's really talented. I think they're scare everybody. I think schematically what they do is really challenging, especially offensively. I think Greg Harbaugh, as you keep hearing about like NFL teams in college, stylistically, they run the West Coast offense out of the, if you will, the Shanahan McVay tree. He's really impressive to me. I think he's one of the better play callers in the league, and the way PJ Fleck manages games, he knows what he needs. You know, so I think they're a team that people are going to have to be ready for in this league every single week. The next one I would say that I only say this because I like Mike Locksley a lot, and I love Malik Washington tremendously. He'd be one of the other quarterbacks, I would say. You know, 5 years from now, I think he'd be a star. You know, reminds me of C.J. Stroud, but he's bigger. He's got all the traits. You know, I met him at Elite 11. Like, you really meet all these guys. But those are two teams that jump out to me. But I can kind of make a case around the bottom third of the league if you kind of look at rankings and predictions. Like, I actually think Rutgers is going to be a lot better than where they're slated in this league. You know, quarterback thing, we'll figure it out. They got the second best receiver in KJ Duff. They got a defensive coordinator, guy's an absolute star. At his previous school, he's head coach of South Dakota, not South Dakota State, South Dakota. And offensively, Kirk Straka always moves the ball well in their RPO system. So I'd probably leave you with those three teams outside of the traditional ones that people are talking about, like playoff darlings. I don't think any of those teams are going to make the CFP necessarily. But Penn State gets 10 wins, 9 wins, maybe. Minnesota, can they knock off Michigan at home? I think they can once they get into October. So those are the ones that I think are piquing my interest early on.
Yogi, a couple years ago in the Pac-12, we had the year of the quarterback. It was Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, Michael Penix, a bunch of others, and we were talking about the depth of it. Big Ten this year, you've got Dante, you've got Julian Sayin at the top, and you know folks are talking about those guys. But I look, and you mentioned Drake and Malik Williams or Washington. Let's go down to Rocco Beck, Bryce Underwood, Damon Williams at Washington, Nico at UCLA has a past history. There's a lot of teams I think who can feel like, hey, we got a quarterback that if he's just on and kind of has his best year, that could be 7-8 wins for us just based on the quarterback. Some of these teams that people are you know, like you mentioned with Maryland and with Minnesota, a couple teams have quarterbacks that if they get hot, their kind of future could look a little different than maybe where they're predicted to be.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. And I just think as the phrase, right, as the ceiling raises, as does the floor in this league. And it's because the resources meet it. You know, any team that struggled, they went to their AD and president and said, look at Indiana. Which means there's more pressure on the Greg Schianos or Bob Chesseys of the world, if you will. There's some of these new coaches, even like Pat Fitzgerald at Michigan State. But everybody has whatever you need. You know, like KJ Duff came back for $2 million as a wide receiver. It's not like Rutgers doesn't have the money. You know, look at Aiden Childs and what he's doing is just got named the starter at Northwestern with Chip Kelly on the offense. So I'm with you there, QB. I mean, it'll be fun to look back because Fernando Mendoza started that year at Cal, was an number one pick. Noah Fafita is the all-time leading passer in Arizona history. You know, you started really looking around like the non-drafted Heisman finalist players of that era of Pac-12 quarterbacks, and you're like, whoa. Cam Ward, right? Number one pick was playing that year as well at Washington State.
Yep.
So I don't know if I'm ready to say there's 3 number one draft picks, like overall number one, but maybe, you know, like why not? Dante could be that. Julian Sayin could be that. You know, I just referenced Malik Washington in 2 years. He could be that. Who knows if Drake Lindsey pops off and stays. Damon Williams. I mean, that's the other thing in this 5-for-5 world. I mean, think about this for a minute. I don't know all the numbers, but you could be a quarterback. Like Damon Williams could be a 4-year starter who also started 2 games his 5th year, which would have been his first year, his freshman year, and maybe make, I don't know if I'm guessing projections like nearly $20 million.
Yeah.
Football. Like, so I think you're spot on. It's the best year this league's ever had a quarterback. I think Ryan Brown at Purdue is going to give people fits. He's added 20 pounds to his frame. They have an offensive line. I mean, everything gets blamed at those guys, as we know, but he's going to be scary. They're going to be better. Wisconsin, you know, they get a transfer. Nebraska, Calandria, he's going to be dangerous. You kind of go up and down this league, which to me just makes it fun because get us to the last 2 minutes and how many possessions, how you managing timeouts, how many one-score games. I think there were 31 last year in conference play, 32 the previous year. I'd imagine it'll be a record number. Whatever the record is, expected to be shattered, in my opinion, this fall.
And with all that being said, with the quarterbacks and how much all these teams in the Big Ten as a whole are being sort of risen up like high tides raise all boats, how hard is it to differentiate them, especially with the schedule in week 1 where you have Michigan playing Western Michigan, you have Maryland playing Hampton, and you have Penn State playing Marshall, like all these sort of games like this. Like, how hard is it early on to differentiate these teams in the Big Ten, especially not the ones at the top?
Yeah, I think it's hard. This is why you gotta love Michigan playing open. You gotta love some of Ohio State going to Texas. Like, I love that part of it. Even Oregon going to Oklahoma State. I think Oklahoma State's gonna be a lot better than PJ. So I think that makes it fun. SC won't know much until Rutgers. Like, you'll have an idea. Penn State, same deal. So I think it'll be fun. You talk about like Michigan versus Penn State as two pseudo sleeper teams in the CFP. Michigan week 2, you're going to know. I think they got Iowa week 4 and then Minnesota. Penn State, not really. Like, nothing until I think they get SC coming home in Happy Valley. So I don't know. It's a tough question. You know how this sport works. We will overhype anything that we see coming through the door, man. So.
Y Option is great one-on-one interviews, and I love the addition of Todd Blackledge. It drops.
Yeah, we'll see, man. I'm excited for it on every level.
Yeah, it drops. It drops on Mondays. It drops today, the same day that we have you on our program, Yogi, on a weekly basis. You can follow him at Yogi Roth on all the socials: Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. Again, it's a great follow, Yogi. So the word came down that we're going to now get somebody transferring back in from the NFL, the tight end from Cleveland. Before that, where was it? He got
Ole
cut.
Miss.
Well, I mean, in
the NFL, I don't
the
know.
NFL, he got cut by 2 teams apparently, or waived, and he clears waivers. And Lane Kiffin's going to swap him up because he needs a tight end. So obviously, this is going to get litigated. Somebody's going to raise a hand and sue one way or the other. So, I guess, in your opinion, how does this affect? Does it affect elite teams more than it affects teams that are punching up a bit? Because now we're going to use the NFL as a proving ground for getting kids back into college if they have eligibility?
Yeah, this one's interesting. I mean, I didn't read anything to be dangerous today. So you kind of filled in the gaps for me. I saw what happened this morning with what you just referenced in that scenario. And then I saw what Coach Dan Lanning said just about the impact on your roster. I think there's impact across the board. Okay, so let's just talk about those at the top. If Lane Kiffin needs another, call it 1.5 to get a player to get to his roster, I'm sure it's, not that dramatic of a challenge, but it's also not the easiest thing in the world. Like, I do think that fans think that every team just has this stash of cash, and some coaches, they put some away in NIL for moments like this, right? The Stephen Daly's of the world, going back to Indiana, if you will, to make sure you take care of guys. But I think it's just a challenge every which way. If you're returning to a team, to me, it's totally different than if you're coming via the streets. Coming via free agent, like the instance that we've all read about online. So I don't know. Part of me hates it, and part of me as a player is like, hey, I like it. Part of me always, my heart's broken when players declare to leave early and don't get drafted, especially in sports like basketball or definitely in football. We've seen that happen so many times where you can talk to every player in America and their agent says they're a day 1 or day 2 pick, and they don't hear their name until it's a undrafted free agent phone call on the final day of the draft. So I'm trying to have like compassion and empathy to that. But my understanding is it's not like you're coming back to a grad program. It's not like you're coming back and you're getting your master's in, coaching, leadership, and management. There's a great program at UCLA, transformational leadership and coaching. I co-teach in the spring semesters. I don't imagine that's happening in colleges across the country. So then we get into like, well, we are employees, like they are paid to play, but we don't want to admit that. So I just think that it's a bummer on a lot of levels. It's obviously just going to be this 1 year where it kind of gets crazy. At least we think, because of the 5-for-5 rule potentially passing.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I don't know what'll get passed from this bill. I've heard mixed reviews from a variety of different people I've talked to. I'd say if I was going to, kind of cherry pick what I hope gets changed, it would be 5-for-5. Okay, we're rolling there. And the second thing would be a one-time transfer rule, no matter what. And I think that would give stability, right? So let's just look at like Caden Pinnock, who's named the starter today at Washington State. I'm calling the Apple Cup. He already transferred from UC Davis, so he can't go again unless he graduates. That's great. Or if you look at other programs, let's just take a kid signs out of high school at Oregon State, and he's killing it, and he's a 2-year starter, and another program comes and offers him a bunch of money. The argument from Jamarcus Shepard would be, hey, you're going to go there and be 1 of 5 at that position. You're going to be 1 of 1 here and get double the reps. You're going to get a good amount of money, maybe not a crazy amount of money, but you're going to position yourself well to make real money in the NFL. So I think all of those conversations will be good for the game if we never get to the place of employment or actually enforcing some of these rules. So I don't know, man. It's kind of funky. I'll be curious what our broadcast crew does if we get it in the game. Usually say they're high school, or maybe the transfer school. We'll say coming out of the Browns. I think we'd probably have a lot of fun with that if it was me.
Hey, Yogi, USC fascinates me because a lot of their hype is big. I mean, obviously got Maya and some guys back, but it's a big freshman class. And in most years, you would say, all right, this is a chance for them to kind of get those guys going and it's going to build. But yet there's this pressure on that, hey, this is a make it or break it year for Lincoln Riley. How tough, and some of those guys are defensive linemen. It's not all skill guys. As you look at that freshman class, do you think they can make a big enough impact to kind of impact it this year with the kind of the positions those guys are at? Or do you think that's one where you would say, hey, these guys are going to be pretty good and get them going, but whatever happens this year, keep Lincoln around because by year 2 and year 3, this class could really be something?
Did we lose him again?
We lost him. Yeah, I said I got a text from him, so I know we lost him.
Okay. All right.
I got to repeat that question.
Yeah, you got to repeat that. Do you remember the question?
I don't even.
I guess we have some glitches with our phone systems. This is 2 for 2 now, so hopefully this doesn't become a pattern. Certainly hope not. Well, again,
you're keep talking though. We're just getting into segment 2, which is fine by everybody here.
Segment 2 is the secret segment. I think we're going to have one of these almost every show now, just for you. But we're not going to tell you what the segment is until we get to the segment. But we've got a little bit more with Yogi Roth as we move on here on the drive. Thanks for tuning in to the Sports Animal. All right, dude. I don't know, Yogi. I don't know how much of that question you heard from Goose before we got cut off.
I was just saying that with USC is fascinating because a lot of the hype based around them is on this top freshman class, which typically would lead you to believe, hey, this might take a couple years, but they're really going to build something. But with Lincoln Riley, it's sort of a make it or break it year for him. Do you think that this freshman class, and some of these guys are defensive linemen, which can be tough to get right away. Do you think this freshman class can come in and make a big impact right away? Or do you think that it might be something to where, hey, Lincoln should get a couple years to mold this thing because it's going to take a little bit?
It's a fun question. I'd be curious what your listeners would think. Because I've been banging around in my own head late at night of like, how do we evaluate a coach now? Like, let's just take the Big Ten or the SEC or any other league, if you will. Like, how do we, like, if Lincoln Riley wins 9 games and loses, and I always say this because this came up in the Hall of Fame, Anna Vinatieri goes into the Hall of Fame as a kicker. Okay, hang with me on this story.
Okay.
The year that Pete Carroll gets fired by the Patriots, he missed 2 game winners. Pete gets fired instead of going 10-6 and winning the division. So I say that of like, what is do we have a hard and fast now based on how competitive the league is, the margin of victory being so small, to, hey, they don't make the playoff, he's gone. I mean, that's kind of like the prevailing nature of the dialogue around USC. And when I look at them, I'm saying, God, this team is loaded. Like, next year's class is going to be good. They're young. Like, who knows with Jaden if he's out or if he comes back. They got Jonas Williams, who's a monster behind him as a true freshman this year, kind of sitting and waiting in the wings. Every portal quarterback will want to come if they want to go down that road. So I don't know if it's make it or break it. And I don't really know how to define that yet. I'm trying to figure that thing out in my own head. I've always felt that you move on from a coach when it looks as though you've lost hope. Ted Robinson, my decade-long partner, would say that all the time of the team is playing and it looks like they've lost hope. That's when you make a move. Arizona Kevin Sumlin era, if you will. You can think of other examples when the team has lost that hope and fan base has lost that hope, and now maybe the donors losing hope. When it comes to this year's Trojans, who kick off this weekend on NBC with Todd Blackledge and Noah and company, the freshmen have already made an impact because they've brought a blue-collar work ethic. And I've probably covered the Trojans as much as anybody in the country, and I haven't seen that a lot. And I think LA's hard. I think it's harder than people give it credit for. It's really a ton of talent, but if you take out the Pete Carroll era from 1980 to now, there's only 6 double-digit win seasons. So think about that. And Pete had 8 in his run in his 9 years. But I think people think that like the Trojans roll at the ball and they get 10 wins. They roll at the ball and they produce a first-round wideout, an elite quarterback. Like that's true. I mean, that's always going to be true. but it's harder to win than people think. And I think when I share that stat, I get the same like, whoa. And you probably go to Wikipedia and be like, he's not right. But it's Larry Smith in 81, Clay had one, Lane and Sarkeesian had one, and Lincoln had one. So you start doing that math, and they just didn't have a lot. They haven't. Double-digit win season since 1980. It's crazy when you think about that. So I think he's got to go a little bit. I think the structure, the front office side of it, the coaching staff side of it, we'll see what Gary Patterson does as a defensive coordinator. I'm looking forward to watching that in real time. But I don't know. Their impact, I think, is going to be massive. I think you're going to see Luke Leifel be a monster coming off the edge. I think you're going to see Trent Mosley, wide receiver as a freshman, be a monster in the slot, kind of like Amon-Ra St. Brown was. So I think they'll be really good. And I also think it's going to be really hard to beat Oregon and Washington back-to-back weeks, even though it's at home. I think it's going to be really hard to go to Penn State and what I'd imagine will be the whiteout at night on that long trip. It's going to be hard to go to Rutgers. It's going to be hard to go to Wisconsin. It's going to be hard to play Ohio State at home. Like, that's kind of the point that you started with, like, who's the sleepers? When you go on the road to some of these places, it's just hard. And as much as change in college football, one thing hasn't. And I think the mentality of 18 to 22-year-olds, like, the girlfriend's going to break up with them. They're going to fail a test. Like, life is going to happen, and you lose focus for a drive or two. And that was Washington last year at Wisconsin in the snow. And they lose to a team that hadn't done much. And Damon Williams plays his worst game. So it's hard for me to evaluate it. Those are things that Lincoln Riley can't allow to happen based on how he leads and how the veterans of that group keep it going and keep it moving, and also bring up some of the young guys, because the young guys will be pushing, and I would expect a lot will play, especially in the 5-for-5 rule.
That's why he's one of the best in the business. Yogi Roth, follow him at Yogi Roth. He and Todd Blackledge weekly on Mondays drop a new program, the Y Option one-on-one interviews. Yogi, thanks a lot for the time. As always, look forward to the entire season, having you share your knowledge with the fan base. We appreciate you, brother.
Hey, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna need some help though from your fan base. I just took over my son's flag football middle school team, so I'm walking into a coaching meeting with all of our coaches right now to build out the practice plan, our scheme. So you got anything good, man? Send it in. Okay.
All right. We're gonna draw up some plays for you, bud. We got your back. Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Yogi. Thanks, Yogi. There he goes, the great Yogi Roth. Follow him at Yogi Roth, as I said. All right, you know what?
Pretty good football coach. If you had a 7-year-old, I wouldn't mind having walking in and finding out that Yogi Roth is coach.
Wouldn't you imagine that would probably be one of the most fun practices that you would have and the most inspiring? And you listen to Yogi, man. How can you not just have joy in your heart? All right, I think you might have avoided it, Goose. I think so. We might have run up against it. I don't know. I'm going to leave it up to the producer and co-host, Justin Grossron, on what we do in the next segment. Do we just get Bob Beeler on?
I think we might have to.
I think we might have to. Voice of voice. First time back-to-back interviews, and Goose is grinning, but he might not have escaped the secret segment number 2 when we return here on The Drive.
Don't change the channel. Your radio might explode. Okay, not real. But you miss a minute of The Drive, you might miss something, well, spectacular.
On we go.
The Drive is back on 102.9 FM and 1050 AM. The Sports Animal.
I've seen it. I've covered it. I'm Alex Rogers, your local farmer's agent in West Eugene. When you need auto, home, life, or business insurance, Farmers can help you protect everything you've worked so hard to achieve. I really enjoy what I do, and I can help you understand all your coverage options. When I'm your farmer's agent, you're not stuck at the mercy of some computer. I'm your advocate when you need help. Visit my office today at 1154 Garfield Street here in Eugene, or give me a call at 541-284-2804.
So what are you reading?
I'm checking out the ratings on the new TVs, and it looks like Samsung, LG, and Sony got the best scores.
Just like last year. What about those new high dynamic range TVs?
They got the highest scores of all, but their prices are really high.
Did you check online?
Yeah, their prices were about the same.
Well, there's one place where we can get a hot deal on those top-rated models.
Where?
At Video Only. Check out the ratings on TV stores.
I see. Video Only scored better than the others.
So if you want the best deal on the best TVs,
then we should take our TV ratings and head over to Top Rated Video Only.
At Video Only, you won't find huge stores with refrigerators or microwaves, but you will find the best deals on top-rated TVs, soundbars, and monitors. Shop around. Just make sure you visit Video Only, because if you don't,
You'll be sorry.
In Jansen Beach, Clackamas, Beaverton, Salem, and Eugene. Video Only.
Hi, Brad and my son AJ here with a word of encouragement from Cottage Road Chevy. In these uncertain economic times, know that Cottage Road Chevy is here for you today
and tomorrow. Your need for a vehicle isn't going away. We aren't either.
We're proud to serve our customers for over 35 years, and we truly consider it a privilege.
Your support is greatly appreciated.
Cottage Road Chevy is proud to be part of our community, and we're here for you. Thank you.
Cancer affects all of us. Today alone, 5,370 people in the United States will be diagnosed with cancer. That's why Stand Up to Cancer funds and develops the newest and most promising cancer treatments to help patients today. Stand Up to Cancer wants to provide you with every opportunity to join in this mission. By donating your home, land, or commercial property, you can help Stand Up to Cancer fund innovative cancer research. Donating eases the stress associated with selling a home and can also help lead to the next breakthrough in cancer prevention, diagnosis, and treatment. Stand Up to Cancer makes the process easy, and it may be tax deductible. It will take all of us standing up together to put an end to cancer as we know it. Help us save lives right now. Your home or property could hold the key to the next breakthrough in cancer research. Visit standuptocancer.org/giveproperty to learn more.
Sometimes they're right.
Rest my case.
Sometimes they're wrong.
You want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
But no ears were harmed in the making of their disagreements.
I don't know what we're yelling about.
You're listening to The Drive on the Sports Animal Eugene.
Across the state of Oregon, live from the Bigfoot Beverages studios. This is The Drive on the Sports Animal Audio Network in Klamath Falls, Roseburg, Newport, and the Rogue Valley. Medford, hello. Danny, Justin, and Steve, the trio that will take you through the next 92 minutes before we let you go at 6 o'clock. Thanks for joining us on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. That's where you can see us on video. Justin, wave to the kids. Steve, just sit there, stare. Yogi Roth earlier on the program, Dave Preston as well. If you missed any of those, go back to the podcast, go back to the show itself because we've got the video going. Expecting Bob Beeler in just a few moments. Dave, sad news from Corvallis. Former Oregon State head coach Dave Kragthorpe passed away. He was 93 years old, coached the Beavs from 85 to 90. He was the Pac-10 Coach of the Year in 1989. And he is in Oregon State lore because he coached one of the greatest upsets in college football history. It was back in 1985 as Oregon State was a 37-point underdog to the Huskies of Washington.
That's right.
And Oregon State came away with the 21-20 win. Block punt with 1:46 to go was the difference. Daryl Awney almost jumped out of the press box.
I bet.
Back in the day.
Like Mike Parker would do now.
Mike Parker would have jumped out of the press box. Mike Parker would have landed softly in the arms of, I'm sure, a lot of Beaver fans if they made their way up to Husky Stadium. So Dave Kragthorpe passed away.
Yeah, he was the coach. My first 2 years at Oregon was at 89 and 90. So I remember those first 2 years facing Kragthorpe. Seemed like a good guy. Didn't have a ton of success during those years, but good guy and well thought of. And I think his kid went on to be a pretty good offensive coordinator. So the Kragthorpe name lives on.
Absolutely. He was a two-way tackle at Utah State from 1951 to 54 and played a couple of years of baseball for the Aggies. And what's interesting about it is Utah State, now a part of the new Pac-12.
Yeah.
So there's the tie there as well. Let's head on over to the Oregon Man Clinic's hotline. Toll free at 877-844-3484 on the Sports Animal Audio Network. And welcome
back to a show that Justin and I did before, but now it's brand new as Bob Beeler, the voice of your Boise State Broncos, one of the newest additions to the Pac-12 joins us. Bob, how's the summer been? Have you been able to rest the pipes and you're ready for football here in a couple of weeks?
Well, yes. I mean, very few really good games on week one. And I think Boise State and Oregon is certainly one of those. You notice CBS obviously picked it as their mid-afternoon game. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good game. I think we'll find out a lot about what both teams have after the game.
I think there's a lot of interesting storylines, especially with all of the movement in conferences and realignments and transfer portals. I don't think we have enough time for what you've got to be able to spend with us to talk about all of it. But let's just start with the head coach, Spencer Danielson. I mean, there have been very few storylines that have kind of had this arc, starting out as a former Boise State graduate assistant. So basically is one of the lowest men on the totem pole, and now has been the leader of the program. And that just took 7 years to ascend. You really like this young coach and what he's been able to bring energy-wise, even though it was on the defensive side of the ball. The offensive side of the ball has still been sparkling.
Well, I think everybody likes Spencer, and I think he's one of those guys that he gets the best out of whoever. I never played football, but I think he could motivate me to be better than I was before I came to practice with him. He was one of those guys, even as a GA, you could just see the way he carried him and the charisma that he had. I thought he was going to be a head coach. I didn't necessarily know that it would be at Boise State, but I just thought there was an it factor about him. Really good recruiter, as they say, good at, getting people out of it. I think he lets his assistants coach. Sometimes you'll see coaches that want to have their hand in everything. I don't think he's afraid to let, people coach their position. He got the job. I mean, when they let Avalos go in the middle of the season, like with 3 games left in the season, I don't think anybody thought he was gonna hold the job, but he won the league. He got the job, and then the next year he goes to the CFP. I think if we hadn't had our starting quarterback injured in the Fresno game, I wouldn't have been surprised if we wouldn't have gotten back two G6 teams or G5 last year made it. I think with our starting quarterback, we beat Fresno and San Diego State, and then you're into let's look at your resume with us and James Madison getting into the tournament.
Hey, Bob, Steve Bims here. Looking at the Boise State team this year, it's always nice when you bring back the quarterback. And I think last year, Maddox Madsen, there was some prize. He won that competition because he was going up against a former 5-star, but he won it, had a good year, and now he's back now. You bring your quarterback back at this level, there's going to be a good place to start. Obviously, he's got the running back, Dylan Riley, back 3 on the line, and Ben Ford. But this offense feel like it can kind of be where it was last year, and maybe for an Oregon team, for a week one, they're enough back on this offense to where maybe they feel like they can be kind of ready to go from the start because of bringing back the quarterback and those others.
Well, I want to say first thing about Madsen. I thought he was going to be the starter last year. In fact, I would have bet my house on it.
Okay.
I thought he was significantly better than Malachi Nelson. I didn't think that was, that he left in the spring. No, I think that that was not even a question, and maybe even that was the year before. Now that I'm thinking about it, but no, he's been solid. He's a guy that has gotten better. I think that they need more out of him if they want to, have a season where they get to the championship, level of play to get to the Final 12. They were not the same team the first couple of games that he was hurt last year. They've got 2 good running backs. The numbers that Genty put up were just, out of this world, 2,600 yards, but they got 1,100 out of Riley last year. You didn't mention Sire Gaines. He had 811 yards. So that's 2 pretty good guys that split the carries where Genty had, most of the carries. I wouldn't be shocked at all, guys, if Boise State does something they've never done, and that's have 2 1,000-yard rushers in the same backfield.
Wow.
I think they're that good as far as running backs go. For me, on the offensive side of the ball, guys, I think it comes down to receivers. Boise State has not had what I view as an A receiver since Khalil Shakir, who's now at the Bills, and his last season, I believe, was, I want to say it was 21. I think that they need some people to step up receiver. You mentioned Ben Ford hasn't been active that much in the fall. He was injured in game 7. I think they're looking for more out of Cam Bates. A lot of people, including myself, impressed with a true freshman by the name of Rashawn Jones, who's out of Baker City, Oregon, played his final year of high school ball in the Treasure Valley here at Rocky Mountain High School in Meridian, which is the next town over from Boise. Akeem Wright is a junior college transfer. He's looked pretty good. So they've got about 7 or 8 guys at receiver, but they need 3 or 4 of them, in my opinion, really to step up. Like the tight end, Matt Wagner. I think he's going to be one of the better tight ends around, period. And in Tim Keene, the offensive line coach, I trust. The right side of the offensive line back as far as starters, guy from CSU Pueblo, a Division II transfer moving up, is going to be the left tackle this year in Tyler Etheridge. In fact, 2 D2 transfers are going to start in the line from what I've seen out of both of them, Etheridge, and then on the defensive side of the ball, Mikhail Edward, a transfer from Central Washington. I think are both going to be outstanding additions to this team.
This is Justin, Bob. Thanks for being here today. And ever since I was growing up, and I'll date myself a little bit here with go back to the 2007 Fiesta Bowl with Ian Johnson and the famous Statue of Liberty play. It's felt like this Boise State program has been just almost, taking that next step. Like they're a program on the rise, and it just hasn't quite gotten there yet. Going to the Pac-12, you're out of the Mountain West, and it's going to be weird. It's not the Pac-12 of old, but it's this new kind of thing. Is that the thing that maybe could take this Boise State program to the next step?
I mean, I think that the thing is you're going to have to play better week in, week out than you did in the Mountain West. I think there were a few free bingo spaces every year that, you could basically roll the ball out and win against probably 2 or 3 teams on your schedule. This year, that's not going to happen in the Pac-12. The better teams moved over. Oregon State, Washington State are there. Texas State, this is going to be my first experience with them. So I don't know what to expect from Texas State, but everybody that you're listening and reading, they're going to have a really, really good offense. I don't know. I think this team, they've been in the top 10 before. They've been, won major bowl games. They've gone to BCS games. They've gone to the college football playoff. I don't think this is going to be what's going to, I think they are at the next level. I think
that's fair.
They've played very well over the last, 25 years. I mean, you just look at the number of, they have more winning seasons in a row, more bowl eligibility years in a row than anybody else. I think the thing that impresses me most is just the consistency with which this team is good. I mean, 8-4 is viewed as a terrible year. A lot of schools would love to be 8-4. And the number of championships, winning the last 3 in the Mountain West, maybe you get a little more notoriety, but I think Boise State's pretty well thought of around the country in playing college football.
Bob Ehler has been the voice of Boise State since 2008. Before that at UMass, and then before that at Bucknell, which in 2025 was inducted into their Hall of Fame. And he joins us here on the Oregon Man Clicks hotline. It's The Drive statewide on the Sports Animal Audio Network. Defense normally, Bob, and I say normally in air quotes, is ahead of the offense, especially early on in the season. Coaches will tell you that it's easier just to point and go at it. And offensively, there's still things you have to learn. So let's start with that, especially with the opening game for Oregon against Boise State. And this has been a couple of times now that they've opened up against each other. This defense, led by Bone Phelps, but you've got a secondary, although they have experience, is untested as a unit together. So where is the strength of this defense? And do you think Boise State's defense is maybe ahead of the offense right now?
Oh, I don't know. Looking at the experience, other than the receivers, I don't know that I could say that.
Okay.
There's only 5 returning starters on defense.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jaden Virgin Morgan at defensive end is a guy that is got to be thought of. He's been all conference in each of the last 2 years in the Mountain West, 16 sacks in each of the last 2 years. I think he's a guy that if you said who's your best prospect for the NFL for next year, I think you'd probably come up with him on the team. Defensive tackle is a position that's a little thin. You mentioned Bone Phelps. I think he's a guy that really was helped out with a position change a couple of years ago. They switched him from safety to linebacker. And I've seen position changes in my career at all three of the schools that you mentioned that I've been with. And a lot of times when you have a guy on defense and you move him closer to the line of scrimmage, it really seems to help a guy out because maybe wouldn't be quite athletic enough to play safety. Now you're much more athletic for playing linebacker. Sometimes you give up a few pounds, but I've seen a lot of times where this helps the player, and it certainly helped Phelps last season. One of the guys, the only returning starter in the 5-person secondary is Jaden Mickey, but it looks like they're going to play him at a different spot this year. He played nickel last year. Looks like they're going to move him to corner. He's a transfer from Notre Dame. The other players in the secondary would all be, as far as for the long haul, new starters. Sherrod Smith, I think, started a couple of games late in the season at corner. Derek Ganter Jr., transferred from Eastern Washington, was a backup last year. He may have started, one game or so, but I like what they have as far as, especially as the starters in the secondary. I think, a new secondary coach this year, I think has helped things out. And obviously they're going to have to be ready to go against Dante Moore and company. One of the things they did differently this year is they now are having a room where they have both actually, if you want to count the nickels as a different position, nickel, safety, and corner, all in the same room where they meet together. And I think the players get a better feel for what the other people in the secondary are doing. I think there's more teamwork in the secondary than any of the three position groups on defense. Just like I'd say, I think there's more teamwork in the offensive line than any of the positions in the other position groups on the offensive side of the ball. So, they've got some young players. I think the defense is younger than the offensive side of the ball, but we'll see. I think they're pretty happy with what they've got in the secondary. They just, you've got some guys at different positions, and you've got some guys like, Travis Anderson was a backup last year. Sherrod Smith got to be a starter at the end of the season. Roman Tillman, the nickel, they really like. He's a transfer from South Dakota. Had nearly 100 tackles last year for the South Dakota team. So, I think maybe the defensive side of the ball has less guys that you've seen do it at Boise State than the offensive side of the ball.
Well, Bob, I know we're going to be talking to you again because we've got the entire Pac-12 season to discuss. We're talking about you get to I don't know, visit us that often, but you can because especially during basketball season, you're at least going to be coming to Corvallis at least once.
Right, and then we've got, I guess, Oregon State over here this year for football, and I don't think Oregon's on the non-conference schedule, although I guess they haven't released it yet. But it's certainly, I think we're going to be coming over there a little more. I guess maybe I'll ask you guys a question before it finishes. What do you think Oregon State's got this year?
Wow. Well, they just named their starting quarterback, so they have at least one position solidified, apparently. But listen, it's been a total tear down and a rebuild. And Jamarcus Shepard's got some really good young coaches and some really good coaches that are a little bit longer in the tooth that are bringing some of that experience. You look on both sides of the football. Offensive coordinator Mitch Dolan, fresh face, and then you got old Mike McIntyre on the defensive side of the football. Jamarcus Shepard is just a ball of energy, man. He is absolutely trying to inspire this team, but working them out and being tough. It's a toss-up. I mean, we're at that line of 4.5, right? That's what Vegas said, and I think Justin says under. Steve and I say over, but Steve has a caveat on that one as well.
Beat Montana. They're going to go 0-2 to start. If they go to 0-3 with the loss to Montana, I think they tank. If they can survive the Texas Tech Houston two-step and at least beat Montana, then maybe they can turn this thing into 5 or 6 wins.
You're not going to have a dual threat quarterback. I guarantee you that. It's going to be a drop back passing offense for Jamarcus Shepard. Okay, well, I guess we might have lost him.
3 for 3.
3 for 3. All right, that's it for phone calls, except for you. Let's take a break. When we come back, really quick segment. Justin and I will take the next segment. Steve can have it off. We'll get this one. We'll put this one to bed. Unfortunately, we lost Bob Beal. All right, we got to figure this one out. We come back. Secret segment that was supposed to be number 2 will be number 3 here on The Drive.
Nothing is too big for the sports animal to handle. That's what she said. You're home for me, Dan Patrick, 6 to 9 a.m. weekdays, and The Drive with Danny, Steve, and Justin from 3 to 6. This is the Sports Animal.
So, how's your research going?
Surprising. After I figured out the top-rated TVs in our price range, I went shopping for deals.
And who's the best?
It wasn't the internet, and it wasn't the warehouse club.
But?
It was video only. They had better deals on the Samsung, LG, and the Sony TVs that got the highest scores.
Better than online and at the club?
I know. Video only beat them all. And now we can afford an even better model for the same price. My research really paid off.
If we buy it video only.
Exactly. Otherwise, we'll be sorry.
At Video Only, you won't find huge stores with refrigerators or microwaves, but you will find the best deals on top-rated TVs, soundbars, and monitors. Shop around. Just make sure you visit Video Only, because if you don't,
You'll be sorry.
In Jansen Beach, Clackamas, Beaverton, Salem, and Eugene. Video Only.
All bets are on at the Three Rivers Casino Resort Sportsbook in Florence. Bet 24/7 at our kiosks or download the brand new Sportsbook app today and get $10 in free bets. Place wagers right from your mobile device while you relax in your room, hit the casino floor, or grab a bite. Then catch the action on Oregon's largest sports betting screen. Visit threeriverscasino.com/sportsbook to learn more. The Sportsbook at Three Rivers Casino Resort. Winning starts here.
I love playing sports, especially for my school. And that's because school sports are special. It's where it's safe to fail. It's where we're taught resilience, where our fear becomes confidence. It's where we learn to get back up after every fall. School sports are where 7.8 million students go from I can't to I can.
This message presented by the OSAA and the Oregon Athletic Directors Association.
If your credit card bills have gotten out of hand, call Consolidated Credit now. If the interest rates on your credit cards are so high, it'll take years to get out of debt. Call Consolidated Credit now. They've helped over 10 million people without destroying your credit. They can reduce your interest rates, lower your total payments up to 50% to get you out of debt fast. For a free consultation, call Consolidated Credit now. The program works.
Call 800-499-4107. 800-499-4107. 800-499-4107.
Consolidated Credit Solutions Incorporated, 5701 West Sunrise Boulevard, Fort Lauderdale, Florida 33313. Licensed by the New York Department of Financial Services and by the Vermont Department of Financial Regulation. Kansas CSO 0019051. Maryland DM 1492. Oregon DM 892. Licensed by the Virginia State Corporation Commission, license number DC83. Service may adversely affect the individual's credit. Non-payment of debts may lead to additional finance charges or collections activity, including legal action. Actual interest rates, length of program, and monthly payment reductions will vary by consumer and creditor. Yours could be higher or lower. Not a loan company. We do not lend money.
1050 AM and 1029 FM and the sportsanimalueugene.com. Broadcasting from the Bigfoot Beverages Studios. You're listening to The Drive on the Sports Animal Eugene.
All right, sorry, stations along the line. We went long with a couple of interviews, so it's going to be a very, very quick segment and a turnaround. And so I'm just going to take it real quick. I'm going to talk for 60 seconds. We're going to go right into the next break. It's a bird. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's a hot pink dragon. The Portland Fire unveiled their long-anticipated mascot last night. You heard it right here if you were listening in Eugene on the Sports Animal against the Washington Mystics. Rose is a glitter-breathing dragon and nails, fresh nails, a light-up tail, and a fierce attitude. So...
It's awesome.
She's
Steve, thoughts?
A living modern day Portland. We're not okay. Only reason we're tongue in cheek in this right now is literally because Steve Mims. This is the chance for him to shake his stick.
I didn't.
No,
I
come on.
didn't come in prepared to talk about glitter.
All right, so Rose now has a lair inside the Motor Center where fans can get photos in a pink mascot. It's fun. Listen, it's fun for the kids. It's a mascot. We're not taking this too serious.
It's a fire.
It's a fire.
Gone a bunch of different directions.
Dragon. Be back with hour number 2 as we close out the hour here on the Sports Animal on the Drive.
1050 AM, 1029 FM, and the SportsAnimalEugene.com. Other stations can say they cover the Ducks and Beavers, but we bring the receipts. You're listening to The Drive on the Sports Animal Eugene.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
Men like to get the most out of things. We expect results when we hit the gym, and we expect to finish our weekend to-do list. We also expect ourselves to never slow down, even when some things start to get a little harder. Low testosterone levels might be slowing you down. That's when Oregon Man Clinics step in. Sharpen your focus, regain energy levels, and improve your love life with treatment options tailored to you. Get the most out of being a man. Visit us online at our Springfield, Bend, and Albany locations.
The plans you have for your property need the right equipment. Kubota has reliable tractors, utility vehicles, and mowers to help you make the most of your land, along with strong dealer support. Stop by today to explore our lineup. Right now, bring home select Kubota equipment for 0% financing or save up to $3,500, plus a first-year K-maintenance service on us. Now through September 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com/disclaimers for full disclaimer.
Mid-Valley Tractor in Eugene. 40 years, family owned. Find them at midvalleytractor.com.
A college security officer called to tell me there was a drinking party on campus. The officer said there had been excessive drinking and our son was in the hospital for alcohol poisoning. He said my husband and I should come as soon as we could. I knew my son would face distractions and temptations when he went away to school. He already had unfortunate experiences with alcohol, and he was a little too good at fitting in with the crowd. I had no idea things could get so much worse so fast. A nurse suggested we attend Al-Anon family groups, even though our son claimed his drinking was no big deal. He said he was not an alcoholic and that he could quit whenever he wanted. I didn't want to go to an Al-Anon meeting, but I'm sure glad I went. If someone's drinking troubling you, you might be surprised at what you can learn in an Al-Anon family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-AL-ANON or go to alanon.org.
Imagine what it's like to be active your whole life and then find out you're going blind. That's what happened to me. I have age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. As a wife, mother, and grandmother, my sight is precious to me. What a relief when I found out that treatments for some forms of AMD are available and that research is underway on additional preventions and treatments. AMD is the leading cause of vision loss in people 55 and over. When I started seeing blurry spots in the middle of my eye, I saw my doctor. She suggested I review the prevention and treatment information on fightblindness.org. Did you know that some forms of AMD can be slowed down or stopped, and in some cases reversed if found in time? Get more information about preserving your vision. Call the Foundation Fighting Blindness today at 1-800-BLINDNESS for a free packet on reversing or managing AMD, or go to the website where I found so much helpful information. Fightblindness.org, 1-800-BLINDNESS, 1-800-254-6363, or fightblindness.org.
Don't change the channel. Your radio might explode. Okay, not real. But you miss a minute of the drive, you might miss something, well, spectacular.
On we go.
The Drive is back on 102.9 FM and 1050 AM. The Sports Animal.
Live in Newport, Roseburg, Klamath Falls, Medford. This is the Sports Animal Audio Network. Hello, friends. This is The Drive. Hour number 3 coming up. We call it the party hour. Well, I just did, so I'm not sure that's what we're calling it. But
you called it the power hour a couple times.
I like the power hour. I like the party hour better. Maybe we should just reserve that for Fridays. Party hour. We can, bring in glitter.
We doing casual Fridays, by the way, or Jersey Fridays or something? Do you have any Friday themed thing?
If we want to do a Friday theme thing, we certainly can.
I think we should.
So next hour, as we close it out, I want to encourage everyone, because Yogi Roth made a plea to the listening audience, and Goose just reminded me of it during our interview segment with Yogi. And if you missed it, go back to the pod or the TV thing that we do on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, is call us on the Oregon Man Clinics hotline, 877-844-3484, 541-844. 3484. And let's talk about some flag football plays that you can drop for Yogi Roth. He's serious, by the way. If we drop some plays and send them to him, he's going to use them. So maybe, or anything else you want to talk about.
We got to think of what the sports animal play is.
Yeah,
we name it after ourselves.
I've already got one in my head right now. Next hour, which playoff race is more interesting, in the AL or NL? Are the Browns the easiest team to root against? Injury to a Blazer. Oregon Man Soup. All coming up in the party hour on the Sports Animal.
Sometimes they're right.
Rest my case.
Sometimes they're wrong.
You want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
But no ears were harmed in the making of their disagreements.
I don't know what we're yelling about.
You're listening to The Drive on the Sports Animal Eugene.
It kind of sneaks up on you. You're more tired than you should be, a little less focused, a little less motivated. Maybe you've gained a little weight. It's normal. A lot of men experience it, but that doesn't mean you have to live with it. At Hale Men's Clinic, personalized testosterone therapy can help you restore your energy, your clarity, your edge. Real solutions, real results. Hale Men's Clinic. Feel good now. Curious about your levels? Walk into Hale Men's Clinic in Eugene, Bend, or Roseburg for your free testosterone test today. More info at halemensclinic.com.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
Millions of Americans are glued to their TV weekly, watching a sport they love. Come and relive your childhood at A&J Sports Cards. They have a wide variety of sports cards and memorabilia. Eugene's home for collecting is A&J Sports Cards. Whether you're looking for the stars from the past or the present, you'll find them at A&J Sports Cards. They are here to meet your hobby needs. That's A&J Sports Cards, 1478 West 6th Avenue, 541-343-5561.
Imagine if I told you that an earthquake was going to hit tomorrow right where you live. That it would be 6.5 in magnitude with aftershocks occurring twice 25 minutes apart. You'd no doubt talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you an earthquake will happen tomorrow. But what if it does? Shouldn't you have a plan? Visit oregon.gov/OMD/OEM and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait, communicate. Brought to you by the Oregon Office of Emergency Management, FEMA, and the Ad Council.
Hey, Max, you look absolutely dashing in that purple tie. Ready to harness the world?
You bet, Daisy. I'm ready as I'll ever be. And might I say, your purple tie really pops with your vest.
Thanks. I almost went with a cape, but didn't want to come across as pretentious.
Nonsense. Anyone in our line of work should rock a cape.
You might be onto something, Max.
Phew. So here we go. First day on the job. We've got this, right?
Right. Don't forget, we both graduated from Dogs Inc. with honors.
Which means I can guide my human around a busy city with ease.
And I can give my human a restful night.
I hope my human is kind and loving.
And I hope mine likes wet kisses and zoomies.
Ready to make a difference?
Born ready. Let's go.
Discover how extraordinary dogs like Daisy and Max change lives at no cost to the recipients. Visit dogsinc.org.
KORE, Springfield, Eugene. I'm Steve Mims. You can listen to me on The Drive weekdays from 3 to 6 on the Sports Animal Eugene.
All right, it's the party hour. Here we go. Officially renamed.
We got to get a drop for it, too.
That's the next thing. Oh, by the way, I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm Danny. That's Steve. There's Justin and you, the Oregon Man Clinic's hotline, toll free 877-844-3484, locally in the Eugene area on the Sports Animal Network at 541-844-3484, live from the Bigfoot Beverages Studios. If you go to our website right now, Sports Animal EUG, we have our shop up. We actually have merch.
Oh, we do.
Yes. So we've got
Justin Likey.
We've got t-shirts. We've got polos.
We've got hoodies. We've got regular sweatshirts. We got jackets. I always like saying that, welcome to the club. You got jackets.
It's great. It never rains at Autzen Stadium, but if it does,
you're going to have a jacket. So there, so that you can just go there and you can have it right to your door. All the Sports Animal merch is right there. We're not going to do Drive merch yet, but we got Sports Animal merch, which is fine.
One step at a time.
That's right. Baby steps. So this hour, lots of topics to get through. And we're going to start out with Joe Lunardi. I finally did get the right article. So this article is going bye-bye. This is how it changes in 2 weeks.
I was surprised by this.
So we've got Oregon men's hoops in the very early 2027 NCAA tournament men's bracketology from Joe Lunardi. We'll talk about that in a second. An injury to one of the Blazers. Are the Browns the easiest team to root against in the NFL? Which playoff race is more interesting in the AL or the NL to you? And that's it for this hour. Power Hour coming up. And you're locked into
party
it.
hour.
I'm changing my mind.
What do we get? We just got to combine it. The Party Power Hour.
Or the Power Party Hour. No, I think Party Power Hour sounds a little bit easier to say, right? I'm going to mess that up.
There's no way to combine the words either because they need to be doing like.
And I'm losing interest in Steve already. He's looking at his phone.
Trying to get my bracket.
Oh, you're getting your bracket.
My
I printed
bracket.
it for you. You want to look at it? I got it right here.
I got it right here.
So, all right. So, and Oregon under Dana Altman, we've well chronicled the pressure that the Oregon men's basketball team faces because of their own success in the past. And with it's really easy to point to, well, it's NIL money, it's the transfer portal, and then how is a coaching staff adjusting and adapting to it? Dana Altman's had a long, long string of very successful seasons, and it was not easy to watch last year with this Oregon men's basketball team. They were bereft from injuries, and it seemed like, they were literally, Goose, if you had eligibility left, you would have been able to probably see the floor.
Dana wouldn't have liked that.
No, I know he wouldn't have liked it.
I'd ask questions like I used to always ask questions. He wouldn't want somebody asking questions playing on the team.
So the pressure is on this year. And it seems like there has been some funding because there has been some players acquired. And this hodgepodge, to me, it's always about, do you have the right guy and the right set of guys? And so the danger always I see is when you put together a group of pieces, how are they going to fit together? Are they the same puzzle piece? Are they wildly different puzzle pieces?
Complementary, maybe, hopefully.
Spice rack. But do you have sugar sitting in the same aisle as coriander? And they're not going to go together. Goes over your head.
What you're talking about.
Yeah,
now.
I know you don't. But you understand.
I just came here to talk basketball. I don't know my spices.
So the bracketology came out, and Joe Lunardi has Oregon as a 10 seed. And he has them in a 10 seed, like playing in the play-in little tournament. That's what I'm seeing, right? Because he's also got like VCU there, Long Island, Clemson's on that line. Because we have more teams that are doing this.
He has them facing Creighton in the 10-10 game, and the winner would then play number 7 BYU in that. He has that in Fort Worth. This is obviously a little bit too early for this. I'm just saying it's the first time I've seen any preseason poll, any preseason bracketology that includes Oregon. It means nothing. Joe Lunardi has no idea how these 8 transfers are going to do. I just thought it was interesting because I looked at it and thought, well, there's going to be another one. It's been about 2 years since Oregon's popped up in any sort of a poll or anything. So I just thought it was interesting that Joe Lunardi had him in there as a 10. He has 12 Big Ten teams in the tournament. So this doesn't mean that he's got Oregon as a contender in the Big 12. But for the first time, maybe in 2 years, there's some optimism from somebody outside the program nationally who thinks that Oregon might be able to do something.
It's belief in Dana Altman. And then these transfers, I guess. I mean, there's some good guys on this list. I think the guy that, if you had to point at one you're probably most excited about, I'd probably say Jasper Johnson, right? I mean,
he was the Boise State guy.
No, no, that's Andrew Meadow. Jasper Johnson is the 6'5" combo guard from Kentucky.
Oh.
So
the transfer? I got you. Yeah.
Yeah, as far as transfers.
But see, guys, I still want to tell you, and Dana's done in some years, he's done a good job with kind of bringing in some of these players, and none of them are jumping out of the top of my head right now, but I've always got the
That's
sense
because they were all sort of.
they were
not-
transitory.
Well,
They were
guys
here
that-
and then they were gone.
Well, guys that that were high recruits coming out of high school and they didn't play a lot last year. And there are a lot of them are unknowns, and I think that's why they kind of are blending in together for you.
Well,
I know I don't mean that as an insult. I think that's literally the type of players they brought in. I think it's a very valid thing to say.
So the hallmarks of Dana Altman teams in the past: tough defense, patient on offense, but they can push, and they will literally like put you in a vice grip until you say uncle. And the team that normally cracks first when you're playing against the Dana Altman squad is the other guy, because it's been like this relentless pressure the entire game, 5 guys working in unison. And that's what I think's been missing from a layman's perspective. I'm not in their practices. I'm not in the locker room. I am not a savant when it comes to drawing up plays or game management. But the appearance and perception is reality for those that are watching it is that has been what has been missing. There has not been a sync on the floor with enough of the pieces to run what Dana Altman wants to run. Now, that's where the argument comes in. Has the game passed him by? Has, because of everything that's going on in the world outside of Dana Altman's sphere, is making it more difficult for a Dana Altman type coach, i.e. a Nick Saban type coach, I'll fill in the blank, however you want to do it, can be successful in this day and age?
Well, I mean, Rick Pitino's older than Dana Altman. He's doing pretty good. We've seen quite a bit in college basketball. Tom Izzo's right up there. He's keeping up with it. So I think we've seen that.
So you don't like that, are you? You don't think that's a
I don't think
fallacious
basketball's
argument?
passed him by. I think that these days, if you gave him Tom Izzo's NIL money, Dana could put together the same team.
So you
I think
purely
that-
think it's a funding thing?
I do. I think absolutely.
That it's not a talent evaluation thing or anything like that, that if I've got $1 million player here and a $500,000 player there, and I'm going to choose, I'm making the right choice.
No, I mean, he had to spend his money on to bring back Biddle and Shellstead last year, and Shellstead got hurt, but he didn't have enough money to build around it. And he made and this year, I don't know that he did either. I mean, he's got guys, but I don't know if these guys were $1 million guys in the portal. I mean, you got, like you talk about, you got Dwayne Aristotle, who barely played at Arizona. You got, Jasper Johnson, Kentucky. I think it's just I think in college basketball, I think Dana can still, it's the old line. He can take his guys and beat yours. He can take your guys and beat his. I'm just telling you, when you've got $7 million and Indiana and Michigan State and these other ones have $14 and $15 million, that's where it comes down to me. So
And I agree with you, by the way. I agree with everything you just said there.
But that's why I was surprised that they were in this, because again, it's been 2 years. I kind of feel like Oregon's been forgotten with good reason. They were not very good last year, and they didn't bring in, again, their top recruit is the Ariza kid, who's a top 25 national guy. I'm just saying this transfer group is a meld of some guys who did something here and there, but there's nobody in. I mean, we're seeing Kentucky's getting guys, in $3 million and this and that. There's none of these guys in here that was anything like that. So I think that it's, we'll see if he can put them together, but I don't think the game's passed him by. I think that if you walk up to him with an additional $8 million to spend on NIL, he'll be right up there at the top of the Big Ten right again.
Yeah, and I think you said it earlier when you talked about Jackson Shellstead being injured, and then Nate Biddle was injured as well. So I get to use this drop finally.
Ooh, that's a bingo.
I think that's exactly it. Like, he had a team last year that he thought was going to be brought in and be almost like not a finale, but sort of the peak of that group of players, right? And we thought that was going to be the supplemental group around them that would make them a good team. And all those guys that he brought in, like almost all of them either had an injury or just didn't work. And then we could call them the big three, I guess, if you will, with Shellstead, Kwame Evans, and Nate Biddle. It just didn't work. Like, they were injured, they were banged up. I think it was one of those things where last year we
didn't have very much talent around them either.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Well,
all the
that's-
guys they brought in didn't work. And so I think that this is a whole
Which
new
is a
team.
financial situation. I don't think he was paying those guys $1.5 million and they were disappointing. I think he brought in people on a bargain basement because
Right.
that's the money he had.
I think we should be willing to, and it's something that you and I talked about, Danny, pretty much all of last year. Give Dana Altman one more chance, and at least one more chance. I mean, he deserves I think, to basically decide when he leaves Oregon. And he has a team this year that he brought in, and he did whatever he could with. So I'm interested to see what happens this year.
Well, you brought up Jasper Johnson. By the way, thanks for listening to The Drive, wherever you're at on the Sports Animal Audio Network. The Oregon Man Clinics hotline open for you in Eugene, 541-844-3484. Outside the Eugene area, it's toll free. We'll pick up the phone call cost, 877-844-3484. Couple of other names. Malik Ewan, who's a 6'10" power forward.
Who's now in question, though, because he
Yeah.
was one of those 5 for 5s. I was going to mention that. So he was 10 points a game, but now all of a sudden he's one of these guys waiting on the courts to determine if he'll play or not.
So Tyrone Riley, the fourth, who is a wing from San Francisco, picked up some players from the WCC. And then Fred Payne out of Boston College. He's a junior guard. He's experienced in the backcourt. Taylor Bowen, a 6'9" junior forward, coming from Alabama, very small minutes there. And then he was at Florida State. He's supposed to be that rim protection because it's lacking, without
certainly was
Biddle
last year.
Well, with Biddle being hurt. So again, this is the centerpiece of any kind of Dana Altman centered offense and defense is got to have that guy in the middle. So the pieces are going to be interesting. I mean, I think if Oregon fans want to take any kind of solace is that at least on paper, there is some national recognition from guys. I think that's your point, Steve.
First time in 2 years Oregon's been mentioned.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
again, it means nothing. It's interesting to me that they popped up on there.
Well,
'cause
listen,
I
Joe
haven't seen them.
Lenardi's not a slouch. He's
No,
more
but
right
he also
than he is
doesn't know who
wrong.
the number 10 seed in the NC2A tournament is going to be. I mean, we're throwing darts at that point, but Vic, if you're Oregon, you're just probably happy to be mentioned again because it's been a while since anybody nationally cared about you.
Should we talk about the number ones?
Yeah.
Could we do that? We got Duke, we got Arizona, we got Florida. It's the same cast of characters. This one is interesting
You
to me,
want to know
though.
what the average NIL budget for those schools is? I'm guessing it's in the 15 to 20 range.
And then Illinois is up there as a number one seed.
Money. They
in
got
the
all
first
the money.
one. So
Illinois got all
Especially
the
after
money.
last year. You want to know what stood out to me? When I looked at and I saw that it was 76 teams, and you kind of forget with all these new different brackets or not. My first thought was, well, how many seeds are there now? Like, are there going to be 18 seeds and
No.
whatnot? No, the way they did it was that they have that additional first round where you have Oregon's a 10 and Creighton's a 10, and they're fighting.
Yeah,
to be
they're
who's
just
the real
putting-
10?
They're just putting more teams in those first 2 days, and then making those teams have a huge disadvantage just
Right.
traveling all over the
But you
place.
could seed it in a way where you say, oh, well, one of them is a 15 seed and one's the 18
Well, that's what-
seed. But
exactly what they're doing.
They clearly are not doing. They're naming them in the ways that people are recognizing, right? Like you're not going to have an 18 seed. They're going to be a 16 seed, which I think is interesting.
So it's going to be 10, 11, 12, and 16. That's the way they're going to do it. 10, 11, 12, and 16. I believe that's the way I've got it.
Never have liked how they don't have the teams that are fighting for spots be those last teams in, like the 16, the 15. Like I sort of understand why in theory because those schools are the smaller schools, but it's never made sense to me why you have two 10s fighting to be in a spot.
Well, to me, it
They
would have
have-
been easier
They
to just
do
go.
have the two 16s will face off, but then two of them also get in. So they basically have said, hey, we're going to run out two of the worst, but we're also going to force the last two at large bids. They don't want to get rid of all the bottom ones to be
Totally,
the automatic
yeah.
qualifiers. So they are going to put the at large in there.
So, and again, you just brought up the good point is about the expansion of the tournament. It's a pseudo expansion of the tournament. It truly is because you start with the one and dones a lot earlier, and you've tripled.
But I don't think Oregon made his list because of that, though. It doesn't. I don't think.
Well, I don't know. I mean, he had him before this. I think he did because
think he did?
the one he did 2 weeks ago, which I erroneously had grabbed before we came into the show, had Oregon in the first four out. So he did have them kind of on a bubble, even back then. And that was when the transfer portal ended.
Again, the semantics between 50 and 75 isn't the big deal. The,
Yeah.
the idea that I'm saying is that they're finally up in there. Before you go to break, one more Oregon basketball
Sure.
note.
Oh, yeah, you wanted to bring
Arizona
this up, yeah.
State hired Casey Benson, a fan favorite here during his time, was a backup point guard on the Final Four team, was hired by Randy Bennett, the new coach out there. Cool for him because first off, his brother TJ is an assistant at Arizona. So nice little rivalry there.
I thought maybe you were related to him somehow.
No, I've met him. I've chatted with him many a time.
Okay.
And he went to Corona del Sol High School in the Phoenix area, so he stays close to home. So
So do you
very
know a
cool.
teacher at Corona del Sol High School?
I don't.
Principal,
I don't know anybody-
administration,
I don't know
the
anybody.
janitor,
I
somebody?
might still have Casey Benson's number in there. I'll see if it's in there. Maybe we'll get him on. But cool for Casey Benson, who was a really
is.
good dude to get into coaching and to do it at ASU.
Yeah, and that's a program that could be on the rise. They're making some changes there, so new coaching staff, right? No more Hurleys. Well, there's still a Hurley, several Hurleys, but not at Arizona State. We come back on the program. Bad news if you're a Blazer fan. Disappointing news if you're a Blazer fan. See how long this one lasts. Injury has hit the Blazers yet again. We'll talk about it when we come back.
Nothing is too big for the sports animal to handle. That's what she said. You're home for me, Dan Patrick, 6 to 9 a.m. weekdays, and The Drive with Danny, Steve, and Justin from 3 to 6. This is the sports animal.
Send off summer with fantastic lease offers and big savings at Kendall Toyota of Eugene. Lease a new 2026 Toyota Tacoma SR5 double cab rear wheel drive at just $280 per month for 36 months with $3,999 cash or trade equity due at signing. Get in on 0% APR on a new all-wheel drive 2026 Toyota BZ XLE. Plus, get $500 TFS subvention cash or lease it at just $385 per month for 36 months with $3,999 cash or trade equity due at signing. Get in on the end of summer savings and stop by Kendall Toyota of Eugene today. Kendall, let's start something great.
VIN number TM074169 and TA013908. TSRP of $42,002 and $41,970. $0 security deposit. See lease posting at Kendall Toyota of Eugene or call 541-225-5420 for complete lease details. All financing out of credit and all customers will qualify. Prices not include title registration or tax. Price includes $250 dealership admin fee. Subject to car sales. See dealer for details. Offer expires 8/31/26.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
If your credit card bills have gotten out of hand, call Consolidated Credit now. If the interest rates on your credit cards are so high, it'll take years to get out of debt. Call Consolidated Credit now. They've helped over 10 million people without destroying your credit. They can reduce your interest rates, lower your total payments up to 50% to get you out of debt fast. For a free consultation, call Consolidated Credit now. The program works.
Call 800-499-4107. 800-499-4107. 800-499-4107. Consolidated Credit Solutions Incorporated, 5701 West Sunrise Boulevard, Fort Lauderdale, Florida 33313. Licensed by the New York Department of Financial Services and by the Vermont Department of Financial Regulation. Kansas CSO 0019051. Maryland DM 1492. Oregon DM 892. Licensed by the Virginia State Corporation Commission. License number TC83. Service may adversely affect the individual's credit. Non-payment of debt may lead to additional finance charges or collections activity, including legal action. Actual interest rates, length of program, and monthly payment reductions will vary by consumer and creditor. Yours could be higher or lower. Not a loan company. We do not lend money.
Oh, long time no see. It's me, the Rock t-shirt in the back of your closet. Dude, remember? You crowd surfed in me, man. But you haven't worn me in like forever. I get it, you're retired, but I still got some rock left in me. So take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
1050 AM and 1029 FM and the sportsanimalueugene.com. Broadcasting from the Bigfoot Beverages Studios. You're listening to The Drive on the Sports Animal Eugene.
Which playoff race is more interesting to you? AL or NL? Major League Baseball. Are you going to root against the Browns in the NFL? Are they the easiest team to root against?
Can I just tell a little story about why
in
I
a
put this
minute?
on there?
In a minute.
All right.
Can I do the rest of the rundown?
Yeah,
Then we'll let you jump in so you can get your branding out for
No,
all the
this has
social
nothing to do
media.
with the SEC.
Fine. We're going to talk about the bad offseason already if it doesn't get any worse than this. Now they're going to be dealing with some stuff that's going to affect on the court rather than all the stuff that's going on off the court. We'll talk about that in this next segment here. The Oregon Man Clinic's hotline open for you, open phones for the rest of the show. If you missed any of Bob Beeler earlier, Yogi Roth earlier, or Dave Preston earlier, we had a bevy of guests. You can go back to the podcast. You can also go back to the YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch channels and watch it as it was unfolded in front of you in living color Again, Oregon Magnetics hotline 877-844-3484. Locally in Eugene, 541-844-3484. Our network of stations in Roseburg, in Newport, Klamath Falls, and Medford. Thanks for hopping on Bigfoot Beverages Studios. Okay, now you may tell us why this was something that you are chomping at the bit to talk about.
So I went to Portland this weekend to hang out with my mom. And at one point, she just turns to me and she asks me this question. She said, who do you think the easiest team to root against this year in the NFL is? And it was like she had a clear team in mind. I said, well, it has to be the Browns. And she said, absolutely. So we were both thinking the same thing. And I think I have a few reasons here. Okay, so
well, are we going to do this in the segment, or are we doing it right now? I want to talk about
Okay.
the Blazers right now.
We can talk about the Blazers now. I'll wait then. I'll wait. I have 4 reasons, I think.
Okay, because we were on basketball. I figure we stay on basketball, and then we'll get off of basketball and we'll go. And by the way, we want to talk football on the phone. If you have any good plays that Yogi Roth needs to have for his, what did he say, his middle school seventh grade? So
No, I thought it was 7-year-old.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
7-year-old
Yeah.
flag football? Wow, look at Yogi. He's the coach of his son's 7-year-old flag football team. I knew this, but that's why he does his weekly segment with us on Mondays, because Tuesdays he has practice. Apparently, he gets all the coaches together on Monday nights. This is getting serious.
It's really serious.
But he
in youth
wants
football,
plays. But he wants plays from our listening audience,
which is awesome.
Yeah, let's draw him up a couple of plays. So
We'll get him the
talk
sports
about that.
animal.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? We should get him T-shirts.
We absolutely should.
They can all go out there buzzing on their T-shirts. Maybe we could sponsor the
I was
team.
just going to say, why don't you take it a
a
step further and sponsor the 7-year-old team down
I'm
in-
going to ask him if I can sponsor his team.
Where's he at?
Let's
Southern
go.
Cal? Is he in Southern Cal?
Yeah, he's SoCal.
There you go.
It's West
Yeah,
Coast.
They take it seriously.
Talking
down
about
there.
branding. It'd be like when the Ducks put Joey Harrington up in Times Square. We put the sports animal down in
We'll talk
LA.
about it
In
in
LA.
marketing history.
Well, then listen. If I'm going to be doing that, if I'm going to be Daddy Warbucks for his flag football team, they better win. Okay, I'm going to be like.
Well,
a
they'll win
iron
if we get those plays.
fist. Okay. So Shaden Sharp, tore a meniscus. Is this serious?
6 months.
Yeah, it's serious. And it could be I would say a lingering injury potentially through his career, depending on how it gets repaired.
Now, didn't we have this discussion that, and maybe we need to get Travis Demers on sometime this week to talk about how this changes somewhat, because I think what we were questioning before with John Morant coming on board was that how many basketballs were there and bringing the younger guys along and how it would look on the floor. Are we just going to play, peewee basketball with everybody under 6'5"? And so now this, I don't want to say it doesn't solve the problem, because it is a problem in terms of their depth, but doesn't this take somebody off the board that if you otherwise would have thought about possibly affecting a trade with?
It was my first thought as well, and it does take away some value to potentially trade, whether or not you were going to trade Shaden or somebody else.
Mhm.
It does maybe make it a little bit easier in terms of the numbers. That being said, Shaden's the tallest guard they have. So if you're talking about a guy that you probably wouldn't pick him out of the lot of guys if you were going to lose one, I probably wouldn't have picked Shaden Sharp, because that being said, I don't really know coming into the season what his role was going to be based on the numbers, but you just never want to see this. There's no benefit to it. Like you said, you can't trade him. You can't trade somebody else and expect him to play a role now. So it's just a shame. And you hope that it isn't something that affects him long-term in his career.
Yeah, and this is, I think, like his 3rd year. I mean, he missed a lot of 2 years ago. Last year, Scoot missed most of the year. The thing to me is, the Blazers tanked to get Scoot and Shaden, and both of them look like there was some potential there, and they're going into year 4 and 5, and you have no idea if either of them are any good. Shaden, they signed last year to the deal, I think, to the 4 years, so this is year 2 at like $20 million per. Scoot, they haven't signed on to it. It's just frustrating to me, and part of it's because either player stepped up and proved the role. Part of it's because of injury. Part of it's because they kept bringing in point guards to play. I mean, they've got Scoot Henderson, and just offseason alone, they brought in Damian Lillard and John Morant, and they also have Drew Holiday
And Denny Avdia handled
and Denny Avdia. And then Kamara has been good. So it's like, even if everybody was healthy, the starting lineup this year was going to be Avdia, Kamara, Klingon, Dame Lillard, and either Morant or Holiday, which means that, again, in year 4 and 5, your 2 prized guys you got are now best your 7th and 8th players. So it's just frustrating to me that the players were never good enough to play their way into it, or that the Blazers never just threw them out there and let us find out. But I have no idea if either of those guys are any good or could run it. I don't know if I mean, Skaden averaged like 20 points a game last year, but I don't know if that's just kind of empty calories on a team that wasn't any good. I don't know if he could do that on a real team. I don't know if Scoot Henderson could. Again, there were some moments in the playoff game was great. I have no idea if he could run a team. It's frustrating to me as a person who follows the Blazers closely that those were the two prizes you got in those two lotteries, and year 4 and 5, you just have no clue at this point if either of them are any good. And now you got another wasted year, because even if Sharp comes back, by the time he comes in, there's no plate in the road. I mean, this is a lost year for him. So now you're going into year 6 before you might find out if you got anything. And like you say, I just by now, you see all these guys in the NBA that come in and are ready right away and are good right away. And it's annoying to me that, and again, it's two guys who Scoot instead of going to college, took a year with Ignite. And Shaden, instead of playing in college, basically went and redshirted at Kentucky. Maybe if either of those guys had played a college season instead of that, Ignite turned out to be a joke and had no competition. And the whole thing with Shaden was weird. He went to college but didn't play, and he wasn't ready. And I don't know, maybe go play a freshman year or wait next year to come through. But that's my frustration with this thing, is just that maybe it might be 10 years you have Shaden Sharp and Scoot Henderson and have no idea if either of them are any good or not.
The Drive here for a Monday on the Sports Animal Audio Network. I think the other piece of this that I don't know ends up being an important factor of it, well, there's two things. One, if you were going to trade somebody, if you're going to package them together, you're going to be looking for a 4 or another 5, because the idea of Robert Williams III again, and you're going to be happy that I remembered
like
that.
that, yeah.
Thank you very much.
I'm glad you liked it.
No, it's fine. I don't mind that. And then Donovan Clingan, who I think is getting exponentially better, but I want to see what he looks like physically, because he still needs to add another 20 pounds of muscle to be able to bang around with the guys down low. He is getting better. Is you were going to go after a 4 or a 5 somewhere. You weren't going to get another guard. You don't need another 3. So that's the first thing. The second thing is you got a brand new coach in Micah Nori. We have no idea what his offense is going to be, because he has been a longtime assistant. Has been told the rumor mill and the perspective and the talk about Micah Nori is that he's like an offensive guru. He's got this thing. They're going to be exciting to watch. They're going to be upbeat, which now this sets Shaden Sharp back even further, because now he can be sitting there on the sideline watching things. He can't be participating. So I think that puts him at a disadvantage in that respect as well. I don't think I'm overthinking that, am I? Because it's a brand new coach.
Yeah, no, like I say, it's almost we were just talking about Malik Murphy. Shaden Sharp almost becomes Malik Murphy now. It's almost like an afterthought at this point. Like, what are we doing? I mean, he's going to miss this year, and now year 6.
But now he's not even valuable to trade away, because now he's been damaged
he
goods.
Never had much value. Again, he's puts up points, but there's never been anything else. I don't think. I mean, and he's making $22 million a year, $20 million on the thing. I mean, you could have traded him for a guy, but he was never going to have great value until he proved he could be more. I mean, he doesn't shoot threes great. He's just kind of a get to the rim scorer, and can pull
There
up
are teams
a little
that have value with that, though. The right situation.
I don't know. I mean, if they want to trade him, I mean, they've had the whole off season and they haven't. So that leads me to believe that they weren't getting a whole lot of offers for him.
Yeah.
I think that one thing you have to get careful about if you're an NBA team, particularly one like the Blazers, who are looking to take the next step, is to try to play with two timelines. They have the Damian Lillards, they have the Drew Holidays. Like they're clearly a team that wants to win right now in a lot of ways, but they have these other guys that, okay, you're trying to develop, but you just can't do that. And I think that just sort of reemphasizes the point that they need to just, I know Joe Cronin said that they don't want to make any more moves, but I think that this even more reinforces the fact that they should trade a guy like Scoot Henderson away and just make the team that you have now better. Don't try to work with two timelines.
I don't know how Scoot would be. I mean, this is year 4 for him. It's like, this is no longer a 19-year-old. This guy's
I don't know how much value you're going to get either, but I think you got to just.
I mean, he's on your timeline as far as I'm concerned now. I mean, he's year 4 and 5. This is no longer a. I know you're thinking the old two timelines of the Warriors went with like Wiseman and then Curry. Right. It's like these guys are all kind of close now because these guys just haven't proven anything in their first 3-4 years.
Which playoff race is more interesting to you, the one in the AL or the NL? We'll talk that next. Your phone calls as well. Wide open phones for the last half hour of the program here for a Party Power 5 o'clock hour on the Drive.
1050 AM, 1029 FM, and the SportsAnimalEugene.com. Other stations can say they cover the Ducks and Beavers, but we bring the receipts. You're listening to The Drive on the Sports Animal Eugene.
Oh, no. Wait, ma'am. We're from Discount Windows, the home of no pressure.
Last guy could learn from you.
That bad,
He's pushing 4 years, the same as cash. With installation, price is so high, it'd take me at least 4 years to pay it off.
What the?
His other offer was no payments for 2 years.
Who wants that hanging over their head? Plus, life happens.
Right?
At Discount Windows, our installation is often a fraction of their price, and we offer 18 months, same as cash.
At Mercedes-Benz of Eugene, we do things a little bit differently. We're one of the last independently owned automotive dealerships with a young and energetic sales staff, no pressure sales tactics, and you don't have to travel outside of Lane County to get the best deal possible. We have more than 200 new and pre-owned vehicles in stock now, and we invite you to come see for yourself at Mercedes-Benz of Eugene.
Right. I've seen new customers come in distrustful of other auto shops, and I get it. They're worried about being taken advantage of. But at Sun Automotive, our compass is welded true north. Our focus isn't to make the most money. It's about making sure your 16-year-old granddaughter makes it over the pass in the middle of the night with no cell service and gets there. At the end of the day, our focus is your trust. For the best service under the sun, come to Sun Automotive.
Once the Oregon football game is over and you're stuck trying to get out of Autzen or waiting for traffic to lighten up on I-5, wouldn't it be nice to talk about the game? The Sports Animal has your answer. The fifth quarter call-in is a comprehensive look at the Duck game, the Big 12, Pac-12, and all the action from college football. Your calls, audio from the press conferences, and again, your calls on the Oregon Man Clinic's hotline, 541-844-3484, or toll-free 877-844-3484. Share your joy. Share your grief. Your opinion on the only call-in program covering the Ducks. The fifth quarter starts immediately after the game ends, here on your number one source for sports in Oregon, the Sports Animal.
In sitcoms, when someone has a problem, they just blurt it out and move on.
Well, I lost my job and my parakeet is missing. How was your day?
But the real world is different. Managing life's challenges can be overwhelming. So, what do? We get support. The Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council have mental health resources available for you at loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. See how much further you can go when you take care of your mental health.
Don't change the channel. Your radio might explode. Okay, not really, but you miss a minute of the drive, you might miss something, well, spectacular.
On we go.
The Drive is back on 102.9 FM and 1050 AM. The Sports Animal.
Couple more segments in the program for a Monday. Justin, who do we have tomorrow on the program?
Right now, we have Zachary Neal, and then I am thinking about it. Get back to me. I have it in my head, but I don't remember.
Okay. We rattle around in Justin's head. It's gonna be like
I haven't written down any of the
Mr.
room.
Toad's Wild Ride. Dating myself.
I'm trying to get through
Back
today.
The old Disney thing. Which playoff race is more interesting to you? The AL race or the NL race? We'll talk about that in this segment. And then the last segment is discussing who you want to root against. You taking the Browns or you taking the field?
I remember it now.
Okay, who's
We got Jared Denny coming in.
Jared Denny
He's a talks and prep football, and then we're also trying to get the play-by-play for Texas State. If I can,
the new voice.
Yeah,
this year.
Yeah, that's correct. If I can make the schedules work, then that's what's going to happen.
Wow, packed show. And then on Wednesday, of course, we have George Reister. Thursday, Angie Machado, and Friday it'll be, of course, Landon Tengwall, as we'll also have our first high school football games on Friday across the state of Oregon. It's going to be fun. So, American League or National League? I'll just say, and I'll start. The races themselves, yes, I'm intrigued by some of them. But I got to say, that's kind of a bit of an afterthought to me because I like the whole Shohei PCA thing that's been going on. That's been fun to kind of follow the up and down. Because to me, the best team in baseball right now is the Milwaukee Brewers, although it pains me to say it. They are. Dodger fans, go ahead and just start. If you want to call in, go ahead. Toll free, 877-844-3484. Locally, 541-844-3484. But it seems like the AL is just so middling right now to me. It's Boston and New York who are running away with the wild card. So both those guys are pretty much locked. And then you've got, if you like competition, then you'd love the AL because there's literally 7 teams that were in a couple of games of each other for that last wild card spot. So let's have at it. But you could say kind of the same thing. It's not as much of a runaway race in the NL, but the Cubs are up, and I think who's after the Cubs right now in second. So it's been changing a little bit. Goose, you might be able to.
Cardinals? Yeah. Well, in the wild card,
Wild
the
card.
Phillies.
Oh, the Phillies. Yeah. So in the wild card, it's the Phillies that are 2 games back of the Cubs,
And the Padres.
Then the Padres are sitting in the. If
Marlins.
it started today, then you got Arizona 2 back of San Diego, Miami at 4, St. Louis at 5.5, and then you get to Pittsburgh 8.5. They're not in it. But on the AL, it's Texas and Cleveland right now in a dead heat for the last wild card spot. Toronto's just a game and a half back. Then you got 2 teams, Minnesota and Baltimore, who are both. By the way, all these teams I just mentioned, every single one of them are under 500.
No.
So the people who love parity love the AL right now.
Well, 2 things. First off, can we acknowledge the fact that the longest current winning streak in Major League Baseball is the Kansas City Royals at 8?
That is not true. The
It's
Philadelphia
not?
Phillies have a 9-game winning streak.
The longest current winning streak in the American League is the Kansas City Royals at 8.
Okay.
They're there. Yes, not only is, and I'm my one I'm watching is, and it's just because we're so close to it and I hear so many Mariners things, but it's fascinating to me, this one, because first off, Houston's leading the division. They've announced this week that their GM and their manager are both not returning next year.
Gone.
They might win the division with 2 guys who are not going to be here. The top team in the AL West, the Houston Astros, have a run differential of -44, and that is the best in that division. Because the Rangers are -46, the Mariners are -61, the Angels are -70, and the Athletics are -187. There's not one team in that division with a run differential, not only in the positive, but of better than -40. So I'm fascinated by this Mariners thing. They're 7 under. Fans are just going crazy that they keep blowing games. I know we don't want to talk about what happened.
They did the opposite of that this
to the
weekend.
2
Yeah, they-
walk-offs. 2 walk-off wins over
They won
there.
the series against the Cubs, but then they got blasted 19-2. By the way, Miller again on the mound. He was on the
that
wrong
happens
end
all
of
the
both
time.
of those. The
And
22
Cal's
nothing
still
loss.
hitting 160, but somehow or another, and now Woo's out, and Kate Anderson came in, but he wasn't great. But anyway, these Mariner fans, it's just funny. I follow on social media are all like, we suck, but we're still in this thing.
And
Oh,
the
but
Mariners
dude,
are only
all we
3.
need is to
They're
win
only
like 3 in a row.
Right, they're 3 out of the last
If they
wild
could just
card
be
spot.
as good as the Royals and put together an 8-game winning streak, they'd be right back in it. But so that's kind of the one I'm fascinated to watch, just because, like I say, the Astros already cleaned house, said none of you guys are coming back. We're so bad, but we might just go win the division anyway. And meanwhile, Mariner fans are like, we stink. But hey, we can't give up yet because we're in it. So that's kind of the one that I'm watching.
No, I'm with you. And even if you look at the actual teams there, Detroit, they clearly don't really believe in themselves. That's why they traded away Tariq Skubal. So all those teams within 3.5, the Mariners, the Orioles, you went through all the teams, Danny. So that one to me is the one that's fun because every team feels like, wow, if we go on a 6 or 7 game winning streak, all of a sudden maybe we actually can make the playoffs. And so that's always fun. And obviously the teams themselves aren't very good. The National League, what's fun to me, if you're into that, then what's fun is, okay, I think there's a top 2. And to be fair, Danny, I still think the Dodgers are better. I don't care what the records are saying. But I think the top 2 teams clearly are the Dodgers and the Brewers. And then it's this mix of the Braves, the Cubs, the Phillies, and the Padres. And then maybe you include the Diamondbacks in there, but I don't think I would. So I think the NL, we kind of know who the teams are and how good they are. And in the American League, it's just this hodgepodge of who knows what's going to happen. And you could see one team go on a 5-game winning streak, and all of a sudden they're in it. Another team go on a 5-game losing streak, and all of a sudden they're 3.5 back, but there's still a month of the season to go.
The difference between the AL and the NL, and this is to your point, Goose, is that the top 5 teams in 6 out of the first 8 that are still really in it. I'm going to take Pittsburgh out of it. So 5 out of the 6 have a plus run differential, every single one of them. And all of them as well are above 500 or better. So that's the big. I mean, it's just not good baseball in the AL right now. I mean,
Especially
when you've got
outside of the
unless
AL
you're the
East.
Kansas City Royals.
You're the
We're playing
Kansas City Royals.
Very good.
Given one more opportunity to say the Kansas City Royals.
They'd
on
only
here,
be
so-
7 out in the West right now. We'd still be talking about them if they were in the West.
See, and you talk about them right now, and they have that win streak, and they're still 58 and 74 on the
Yeah,
year.
they were 50 and 74. So 58 and 74 looks a lot better.
Spring here, it springs eternal at Kauffman Stadium for Goose.
Well, what's fascinating is the fact that it's one division in the American League, basically, that has 3 out of the 4 teams above 500. And then there's
Yeah.
the White Sox of all teams. The White Sox are the team that's 68 and 62. We never would have seen this coming.
So if you want to race, I mean, one of the teams, somebody's going to get hot down the stretch, and none of them have been. They have, like I said, middling is the first word that comes to mind. So I guess if you want competition, no matter what the records are, you would probably like the AL. I think there's better storylines there in terms of
So
how
they're-
many
they're
teams are
kind
in
of
it.
the SEC.
Oh, very good. That's very nice, Goose. Way to
Yeah, they just
slide
take each
that
other
in
out.
there. We're just beating up on each other, and so we're going to be so good. And here's the thing. Who won the All-Star game?
The American League.
I don't know who did.
Yeah, it was the American League. It was
So
just
it'll
crazy.
be an American League team that will get to host the
Well,
World
no,
Series.
they don't do that anymore.
No, sorry,
Yeah,
they
they don't do
didn't
that
do
anymore.
that. Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah. So,
But it is
yeah, so
weird, right?
It's going to be an NL team
That
hosting the World Series.
most
Has to
likely, I mean, the Rays have 77 wins. They would be the team that would host if it's not the Brewers or the Dodgers. So there maybe the Rays or somebody.
So
like
I don't
that,
think we solved anything except. So what are the votes? You say AL?
I just said AL West is the most
Oh,
fascinating
AL.
for me because I want to see if the Mariners can pull this thing.
Yeah,
off.
I'd say AL wild card is fun. That's what baseball is all about.
I
in
mean, I'll
September.
vote for the AL wild card, but again, taking the playoffs out of the picture, but I know that was the question. Is I would go the AL wild card because more storylines, more opportunity for rooting for a team, and then
randomness.
that too. There's always that. So, all right, we decided things. Still waiting for some flag football plays that we can send to Yogi Roth. If you want to give us a call, 877-844-3484. That's the toll-free Oregon Bank Clinics hotline. Locally in Eugene, 541-844-3484. Close out the show with the last topic. Are the Browns of Cleveland the easiest team to root against in the NFL? And if they aren't, who's your favorite to root against? I think there are some people out there that would love to root against the Jets. 877-844-3484, toll free here as we close it off on the drive.
Sometimes they're right.
Rest my case.
Sometimes they're wrong.
You want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
But no ears were harmed in the making of their disagreements.
I don't know what we're yelling about.
You're listening to The Drive on the Sports Animal Eugene.
Men like to get the most out of things. We expect results when we hit the gym, and we expect to finish our weekend to-do list. We also expect ourselves to never slow down, even when some things start to get a little harder. Low testosterone levels might be slowing you down. That's when Oregon Man Clinics step in. Sharpen your focus, regain energy levels, and improve your love life with treatment options tailored to you. Get the most out of being a man. Visit us online at our Springfield, Bend, and Albany locations.
Where do people in Eugene, Springfield go for their boating needs? Maxim Marine. Maxim Marine sells the industry's top boat brands, Thunderjet, Bolton, and Fishrite. New or used, you can find the right boat and accessories for you. If you're in the market for a new motor, Maxim Marine carries the finest outboards, including Suzuki, Yamaha, Mercury, and Tohatsu. Need repairs? Maxim Marine is your factory-authorized service center located right here in Eugene on Highway 99. Maxim Marine, for all your boating needs.
Wildfire season is coming. Are you ready? All it takes is one small ember to level a home. Reduce any fire hazards around your home and property to prevent an escaped fire from spreading out of control and to protect your home from an oncoming wildfire. It's called Defensible Space, and it works. Go to keeporegongreen.org to learn more.
They are our love bugs and companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life better. When we face unexpected challenges, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people and their pets. Whether donating a bag of kibble, sharing an Instagram post of a lost cat, or welcoming a foster pet into your home, every bit of kindness counts. Visit petsandpeopletogether.org to learn how to be a helper in your community. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
In Oregon, we're taking a stand against hate crimes.
A stand for inclusion,
For acceptance.
civility, unity,
With a new law, we're taking a stand against bias,
against bigotry,
prejudice,
Homophobia.
other phobia
against violence and intimidation,
of any kind.
so we can make a real difference.
It's a stand for our future.
So no one has to be the victim of a hate crime.
Because we're all Oregonians.
And taking a stand
Is what we do. Learn more at standagainst.hate.oregon.gov.
a message from the Oregon Department of Justice.
Donors choose. Support a classroom.
Future.
Did you know that every year, public school teachers spend nearly $500 of their own money for student supplies? Let's do the math. That comes out to over $1.2 billion a year. And that's just not right. At Donors Choose, we want students and teachers to have the tools they need for a great education. And now, more than ever, they need your help. Here's what you can do. Go to donorschoose.org and choose from teachers' requests that support reading, math, science, history, and more. Once a request is funded, we'll take care of shipping everything directly to the teacher. It's that easy. You'll receive thank you letters and photos from students and teachers and a report of how every dollar was spent. Teachers' needs have never been greater. Learn more at donorschoose.org.
Donors choose. Support a classroom.
Future.
Nothing is too big for the sports animal to handle. That's what she said. You're home for me, Dan Patrick, 6 to 9 a.m. weekdays, and The Drive with Danny, Steve, and Justin from 3 to 6. This is the sports animal.
It's getting close on Little League World Series to the finish. There are elimination games on both the U.S. and the international side. They're playing right now. They're tied in the bottom of the fifth, Pennsylvania and Alabama. The bases loaded, nobody out. 5-5. One of those teams, unfortunately, going to go home. Tomorrow on the program, Jared Denny's going to join us. Zach Neal, Zachary C. Neal, as we like to call him here.
Two former co-workers of mine at the register. Actually, Jared Denny is back at the register guard, but both of them were part-timers.
I just give up. Of course, we already knew that. The 6 degrees of separation of Steve Mims, kids. We just live in his world. That's all there is to it here on The Drive. The sports animal, Eugene. No, I'm just of that. I mean, I'm going to give you, you're going to write a book, or we could just make a movie.
I wrote a book about the Eugene Emeralds.
I know you wrote a book about the Eugene Emeralds. In fact, I'm still waiting for my signed copy of that book, by the way.
You tell the Godfather to bring it in and I'll sign it for you.
Okay.
That's the last. I don't know where
that.
any copies are unless go get one.
You don't have a copy of your own book?
I have one. I'm not giving it away.
You only have one?
book I've ever written. I
Can
do.
Can you let me? So Brad says he tried to call, but his answer is the Dallas Cowboys.
I figured that's
going to be easy.
We're going to want.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We're not getting any calls in.
It seems like that is the case.
All right. So I've been giving out the phone number. People have been trying to call, and they don't know my cell phone number, which I'm not giving out on the air. Are the Browns the easiest team to root against in the NFL? Yes. So do you want to start there, or do you? So if they aren't, then who is the easiest team to root against? Pardon me, in the NFL.
Okay, so here's my theory. So you have the Deshaun Watson thing. I mean, that's like a low-picking fruit right there. I also think that if you're somebody that isn't into the Shedeur Sanders situation, you're tired of hearing about it. That's another one that I think people are kind of tired of. And then for me personally, I don't like the way they've treated Dylan Gabriel. I don't think they really gave him a fair shot. I think Dylan Gabriel will be a good backup quarterback somewhere. I don't think it'll be for the Cleveland Browns. I think something else that's in this conversation too is the fact that I don't really think there's a clear team outside of them, to me at least, but like there's no Patriots where they've won 7 times in a row or whatever, and people are just tired of them, or the Chiefs are kind of down again, where they doesn't feel like they're like this team that we all have to be afraid of anymore. Like, I don't know, do you guys have any teams out there that you think are just like that team that everybody kind of hates right now? I just don't really.
Well, and I'd say that's a different argument, as everybody hates. You just said the easiest team to root against in the
Well, that's the
NFL,
team
but-
I'm talking
but-
about. Do you
but
think there's any
personally-
other team that's like very consensus? There's a team to root against right now. I don't know if there is.
Well, I think there's probably a little Regency bias perspective. Go ahead, Goose. I'll let you handle this one before
Yeah,
we jump
I
in.
think it probably moves. Like I say, when the Patriots were winning and Belichick was kind of the people nobody liked, they were probably the one there. I think the Chiefs recently, just because of the whole Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce have brought in kind of the whole Taylor Swift crowd,
Right.
and I think a lot of people are more than happy to send those people back out to watch things other than football who weren't watching football before. So that would be sort of my. I guess it's cyclical. So maybe the Chiefs are but they also are probably the most popular. It's probably like the old Cowboys thing. Cowboys are the most hated and the most loved team. That's probably where the Chiefs are now. The other one would be the Raiders. Feel like people have strong feelings about the Raiders, but I don't know that right now that team's very easy to hate because they're not any good and their quarterback's pretty lovable.
I know, it's so funny, right?
So what's interesting to me is that it seems like the groundswell in this country is like at the early peak of a really successful team, people love it.
Love it.
And then when you get to a certain tipping point, like when you get to 3 or 4 in terms of either Super Bowls or world championships, then it's all of a sudden you get that fatigue of, you know what? I don't want to see them there anymore. I don't like them. And the off the field stuff, I mean, I was so tired of watching a Chiefs game and having the camera pan up into the suite to see what Taylor Swift was doing. I could care less
But a large
about that.
percentage of their
I know
audience
that.
wanted to know, and that's why.
And the numbers bore that out.
Absolutely.
So that's why they kept doing it. Believe me, I'm savvy enough to understand that. But for me, it's like, all right, now, and I covered Kansas City for 4 years. So I got to know the Chiefs organization before they got good again, because they were at one
And they
time.
were always decent, but not like
They were okay.
Yeah, they were like okay for the most part. With Alex Smith, they were pretty good.
I mean, they had a lot of good coaches and players I could root
Jamal
for.
Charles.
Oh, I mean, I go all the way back to Marv Levy and Marty Schottenheimer. Yes, I mean, that's going over.
Hank Stram. You going back to Hank Stram?
I'm
What
not
about
going
the
back to Hank
fullback?
Stram.
I forgot his name.
Christian Okoye.
Yeah, there you
Nigerian
go.
Nightmare.
Yeah,
there you
that's
go.
right. So see, that brings a little smile to our face. But like, I had the fatigue on the Chiefs for a little while, but
I did
I'm
too.
And I'm okay with them now. Cowboys for me, because again, for me, that was the one team the Packers could never get past in the postseason. They were always in our way, meaning they were always in the Packers' way to try and get to a Super Bowl. They would run into Dallas almost every
That's
single
why
year.
Brad hates them too, because he's a Washington fan, and the Cowboys got in their way. Again, that's the best thing to be in sports, right? When you're the most loved and the most hated team, that's kind of who they are.
It's easy for me to root against the Jets because I just think they're such an inept organization from top to bottom. I mean, that
Seems
is
like a waste of energy to hate the Jets.
Well,
They
thank
hate
you,
themselves.
Goose. Thanks, Goose. I'm
Yeah,
glad.
they
I'm
do
glad you're
kinda hate
helping me out of it.
themselves. They don't have a. They're pretty self-aware of how bad they are, I think.
So being self-aware, I do need to mention this because I've now had a couple of texts about it. So we do apparently have some issue with the phone system we're going to get figured out. So for all of those that have been trying to call in, it's going to voicemail or it's going some other place, and I'm not sure, deep in the internet somewhere, please bear with us. We'll have the phone fixed tomorrow. I guarantee you. 877-844-3484. Just keep it in your speed dial. And in Eugene, the local number is 541-844-3484. So we are aware of the issue. And that's what happens again. We love technology. Tomorrow on the program, another good show for you, we think. Zachary C. Neal will join us from Ducks Wire, Ducks Rising. He does the Believe in Oregon podcast, which I believe they're going to start kicking back into gear, him and Jonathan Stewart and others.
You believe?
Well, I believe. And Jared Denny is going to join us. As I know, we're going to talk. Are we going around the horn with Jared?
Yeah,
we have a
he
few
knows
topics.
the Medford schools a little bit because he was covering them.
So we're going to
pretty
talk high
recently.
school. We're going to talk.
I was thinking mostly high school.
All high school with Denny. Denny's doing high schools these days. So
yeah, but I mean, he's much traveled and well varied.
He is,
in his
and
background.
he covered major. You can talk Minnesota Twins with
that's
him.
what I was gonna say. Let's
He
not-
was the Minnesota Twins reporter for MLB.com.
Let's not pigeonhole our guests. Let's let
hammer
them
high school football.
Okay, geez, all right. I'm getting voted
We
down
got
here.
Zachary C. Neal to talk Ducks with us.
Okay, but I'm not just Ducks.
Talk
We can
Twins.
talk
You can
about-
talk Twins with him. He has covered the
Okay.
Twins.
We can cover. I would like to know his earliest memory of Minnesota. That's what I would know. Is it the Kent Herbeck Kirby
No,
Tucker
he didn't
days?
cover him until like 6 years ago. He didn't grow up there. He just covered it for MLB.com.
I didn't ask when he was covering them. I just want to know his earliest memories of the
Oh.
Twins if he had one.
Okay.
Can I tell you my earliest memory of the Twins?
Sure.
I don't remember exactly what year. It was whenever they played the Yankees in the playoffs and they hadn't won a playoff game. And I still think they hadn't won a playoff game until what, a couple years ago? It was like 2 years ago, right? They won their first playoff game in
Twins
like
won the
forever.
World Series in 91.
No, I know, but when I was alive, I wasn't alive in 91. This was like this was like the Yankees had, Jeter. It was in the early 2000s, I think, is my first memory of them in the playoffs. And the whole story was they hadn't won and they still haven't won, or they didn't for like 20 years.
Okay.
That's my Minnesota Twins story. Didn't land, apparently.
No, apparently it didn't. They're not all
You have
going to be
put your
diamonds,
birthday up
kid.
here for me, so I know the B before Justin and after Justin.
Yeah, that's right. 95.
Okay, we're not gonna remember that. You're gonna have to remind us. So tomorrow on the program, that's what we're gonna have. So stay tuned, and thanks for tuning in. BFT Unfiltered tomorrow at 2. We follow right back up at 3. Everybody along the lines, thanks. I knew I shouldn't have had the seafood last night. I knew I shouldn't have the seafood last night, guys. I'm feeling a little eel.
I thought you were about to say I saw food and I ate it.
No, haven't done that. Put a smile on your face, someone else. They deserve it. So do you. God bless. Thanks for listening and participating in the program. We'll be back tomorrow, 23 hours. Peace.